Hello, welcome back to the Fastball Sports Network. I'm your host, Mark, joined today by Dan and Frank. Today, we're going to be talking about MLB season preview. We're just 4 days away, some betting odds, some team totals. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I mean, I thought we were doing a wrestling podcast. Am I in the wrong place? Like what happened? I thought we only did
Every now and
wrestling.
then, we will stray away from wrestling. Today is a day that we're all very excited about with baseball. It's right on the horizon. We see it. We're finally there, 4 days away. A full 162 we were deprived of last season. Dan, how are we feeling about it?
It's baseball season. I'm excited. We got 162, like you said. I'm happy to have it back. It's been a long time coming.
And so far, it seems like everything's really good on that front. I feel like at least the reports from spring training, MLB is doing really well with COVID. I think there was like 4 positive tests, and the last one out of like 15,000 tests. So that's really good. Obviously, hopefully the numbers stay down like that with the vaccine coming out and being more accessible to everyone. But yeah, we're going to look at some betting odds today, some team totals. We're all ready. We're feeling good.
I'm
I would
ready to
like
go.
to before we get started to say a few words about our fallen hero Eloy Jimenez and him not being able to play during this season. That's tough. We're gonna miss you, Eloy. I really thought that this was gonna be the breakout season for him. So maybe next year.
Yeah, no, he's very young. He's very good. I feel like he's probably the best hitter on that team right now. It's like him or Jose Abreu.
Or Luis Roberts on my fantasy team. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, he's not there, but it's a big blow. It's
Yeah,
a
let's
really big
take it
blow.
easy before we get to Robert.
It's a big blow to that team who is projected right now to win their division. So that could be a difference maker, truthfully, with the Twins and maybe even Cleveland. So yeah, we'll start off with the NL East, our bread and butter. All three of us being Mets fans. So the numbers have gone up and down with the Mets and the Braves, like picked to be the favorite. Right now, the Mets are the betting odds favorite at plus 130 to the Braves plus 140. How do we feel about this? Do we feel like this is the Mets division? Do we think it's gonna be a little tough for the Braves to hold on to this crown, or what's the feel?
I mean, the Mets are the better team. The Mets are the better team. Like, you're gonna tell me Atlanta has a better lineup, and I don't even know if that's true anymore. Like, the top of Atlanta's lineup definitely better than the top of the Mets lineup. But throughout 1 through 9 or 1 through 8, because we're hitting pitchers again, the Mets lineup is really freaking good, and they've got guys coming off the bench that we know can hit. That are proven MLB players. We've got Luis Guillorme coming off the bench, who is just the ultimate utility guy that they could plug out there for defensive need. My only real issue with the Mets right now is I'm very concerned about their defense with Dom in left and Nimmo in center. Even the infield defense, JD played a okay third base. Again, they could put Guillorme there if he starts struggling, but mostly I think the Mets are the better team.
See, I want to agree. My main issue is going to be what happens until Carrasco and Syndergaard come back.
Yeah.
Because when those two are back, I agree with you. The Mets are the better team. Both of them are amazing. But I think those two pitchers are going to put them over the top. If I had to pick a division winner, knowing that those two are going to be out, I would want to say the Braves right now. Just because, like you said, I do think the Mets lineup is deeper. But they're the top of their lineup. They are more top heavy in Atlanta, but they are just so good at the top that it's hard to even penalize them for it, if that's the word we want to use.
Yeah.
So I do think both of them are playoff bound, but if I had to pick one today, I would slightly lean towards Atlanta.
I would say that feels safe. Whoever doesn't make it will probably be the wild card, along with either the Padres or maybe the Dodgers if you're feeling crazy. No, I think it's a really good point with both Carrasco and Syndergaard and the defense as points against the Mets. Against the Braves, I think the bullpen isn't very sharp. I think their rotation looks really nice, but
they lost bullpen too, right? They lost some guys in the bullpen.
They lost Melanson and Shane Green both left. I think the rotation looks really good on paper, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty with Soroka coming back from injury. Ian Anderson only having like 40 career innings. There's a lot of things going against them as well that I feel like people are kind of looking past. Charlie Morton's like 37 now. They're a really good team, but I think they have their fair share of gripes against them as well. And for the Mets, I think they're asking a lot from Lucchesi and Peterson, but hopefully, and Taijuan Walker for that matter, hopefully they can just keep them in games until the reinforcements come in Syndergaard and Carrasco. The Mets team total, they actually have the Mets at 91 and the Braves at 91.5 in terms of their win totals, but they have the Mets ahead of them. This is the FanDuel Sportsbook at plus 130. I think they're both probably over at 91, 91.5.
I agree.
It's right around there. Like I really think that because of how good the division is, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Phillies, the Nationals, and the Marlins, but this is the most competitive division in baseball. So them at 90 is not an insult. I think if either of these teams are playing in like the AL Central or the AL West, like they'd be 95 to 100 game winner. Like I don't know what the projections are. You'd have to put them in that division, but like depending on which division they'd be in, like even the NL Central, like they would win more games. This is a tight division. They're going to play the teams in the division most. So that's a big factor going into this season is the fact that the other teams are not pushovers at all.
I agree. I think the head-to-head, the interdivision record is going to end up being the difference between where everyone plays out. As I said, the Mets and Atlanta, those are 1 and 2, and I don't think there's many people that would disagree.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if say Atlanta, for example, comes out hot and they have the Nationals number, the Phillies number all year in a division where everybody's competitive. So I don't think anybody's just going to be a pushover in the division, like Frank said. So if there's a team that could come out hot and take care of business in the division, I think that's going to be huge this year, more so than usually.
Yeah, I do think the Marlins are the worst team in this division, but no one's stunned if the Marlins take 2 out of 3. Like they did make the playoffs in the fake 60-game season, and they do have really good pitching. So with really good pitching, anything can happen. Like they could take 2 out of 3 from any given series.
Yeah, and also we obviously you can't predict injuries, but Jake goes down, the Mets are in trouble. You know, if Acuna goes down, the Braves are in trouble.
Yeah,
like both these teams have big players where like that one player will decide wins for their team. For the Mets, like I said, it's Jacob deGrom. For the Braves, it's Acuna. If both of them were to happen to go down, then the Phillies are kind of not bad, you know, like they have some holes, but I kind of do like the Phillies like lineup.
All right, we'll move on to the Nationals now. They're probably the most
Sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I went to Philly.
Division, expected to come in 3rd place by the FanDuel Sportsbook. They're really tough. We've talked about them ad nauseam, the three of us, like between just throughout the offseason, where this team can be really good or really bad depending on the health and the production of their big 3 starting pitching. They're at plus 650 win division. They're projected 84 wins. I think that's fair. Maybe a little lower than 84 for me, but I'm worried about Scherzer. I'm worried about Corbin, and you have to always be worried about Strasburg.
I agree. I feel like their lineup, while it's not a juggernaut, it's much improved. And when your starting point is Juan Soto, you're always dangerous.
Yeah.
Adding in obviously Bell, Schwarber. I don't know how many people are talking about it, but I do think getting Zimmerman back is going to be helpful for them. He's not the same Ryan Zimmerman that he's been his whole career, but I don't think he's on empty. I think he can help them. He has. I noticed that too. He's been hitting some homers. I think he can make a difference. The pitching, like we said, injuries happen, and those 3 especially, you have to be a little more wary of it. But again, at the same time, if those 3 are able to put it together and stay for the most part healthy and pitch close to 30 starts, maybe in the 25 range, just something in that ballpark, I can see them being a really good team. Like they have the talent, it's just a matter of staying on the field.
Obviously, they won the World Series in 2019 as well, so they're not that far away from being very, very good. They've lost Rendon since, but I do think the Josh Bell addition is really, really good for them as well. Frank, what do you think?
I feel like we've been down this road with teams before. Like they had like this championship core, this great pitching staff, and then like they get a little banged up, and everyone's like, no, they could put it together. And I feel like more often than not, and I'm sure we can go back and find examples, but more often than not, the team winds up going in the other direction, going in the wrong direction. With the Nationals, like you look at every single one of their players, they have an injury history, like every single one, except for, I mean, I don't know about Corbin that much, but I know that he looked terrible last year. But if you talk about Scherzer, he's been banged up the last few seasons. You said it with Strasburg. It's been the story throughout his whole career. Soto, very good hitter, but also every once in a while gets banged up. He missed some time last season at the beginning of the season. It's only a 60-game season, so I'm not going to say he like missed half the season because that's like a month. So that's not really.
He had COVID for the record.
Oh, he did have COVID. Okay.
I think it was a false positive too.
Okay,
so I think he was. I
Trey
think he was
Turner,
ready and
always banged up. Another big part. I mean, he's going to be their primary. Like he's going to be the guy that comes around the bases more than anybody else. He steals all the bases. Great defender at shortstop. So they just have so many question marks to me. Like the Phillies, we're going to look at the Phillies next, I'm assuming. I like them better because I just think that when we talk about consistency, Like that team has it. Like you've got Harper, you know what he's gonna do. You've got Real Muto, you know what he's gonna do. You've got Aaron Nola, you know what he's gonna do. So like when it comes to the Nationals, there's just so many question marks, and I'm just not sure that they're gonna be able to put it all together. They honestly remind me of like the Mets teams after 15 and 16, where it was just like, okay, well, if this rotation gets healthy and everybody in the starting lineup is healthy, they're going to be good. And how many times did that work out for? I mean, like we've lived this. How many times did that work out?
That's a pretty good comparison, honestly. All the what ifs when you look at the team up and down, like if that hits, and that hits, and that hits, then we're gonna be really good. I think that's a really good comparison.
They have Juan Soto, which is something the Mets never had. The Mets never had that like A+ player. Like David Wright was amazing, but again, he was a question mark. They have Juan Soto. I'm sure he's going to be there. Even if he misses a month or something, pulls a hammy, it doesn't matter. He's going to be there. The other question marks around them, there's just so many.
I think I'll take slightly the under at 84. I feel like 82 is more reasonable. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with the under also. I do think they're so talented, but like you guys have been saying, there's too many question marks. I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, I just think I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think that there's just too many, like Dan said, too many question marks, and usually that ends up on the wrong side, not the right side. But hey, maybe they could be the team to surprise us.
All right, we're going to the Phillies now. I think I've ranted about them the most throughout like the last handful of years or months. Like, I just don't understand them. They frustrate me to no end just watching what they've done. There was a really good Stanley Network. Like, they have the longest playoff drought in the National League now, with the Marlins getting in last year and some other teams getting in that don't usually get in. And they were bad for so long. They really only have Alec Boehm to show for it. So they've done a really poor job in the draft. They've done a really poor job trading wise. And they go ahead and they sign Zach Wheeler to a massive contract that he probably didn't warrant. Like, he's really good, but like they gave him like, what was it, 26 a year or something crazy. It was like, all right. Their betting odds are plus 850. Their win total is 81.5. I feel like we talked about it also. Like, they just kind of brought back the same team that wasn't that good. They got Real Muto, they got Didi, they brought these guys back. It's like, we're just going to run it back with the same crew. Like, how is this going to be different?
With the Phillies, I agree with what you're saying, but I also feel like they have more than they've done. Like, does that make sense? Like, they have more talent than like the production they've been getting. Harper's good. Real Muto's good. You talk about Didi, really, really solid play. Like that's what they do. Reese Hoskins is up and down his whole career. Not a very long career, but up and down. I like their pitching. Like, the beginning of their pitching, like their beginning.
They're top heavy. They have Nolan Wheeler.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like, I don't think Wheeler's amazing, but I think he's really, really solid. Like, really, really solid. So you know what you're gonna get from both of those guys. That's kind of huge, you know. Like, one goes down, you know what you're getting from the other. Their bullpen is kind of not great, if I recall.
It was awful. They got like Archie
Awful.
Bradley.
That's right. Yeah, they were the ones
Like-
that like had like the historically bad ERA. Obviously, again, 60-game season, so there's not really a lot to put a lot of stock to put that into. But it's almost impossible for the bullpen to be that bad again. So I mean, if you wanna look at it that way.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind with the Phillies is I feel like it has to be the bullpen. That what was their ERA, almost 9 or
7 or
I thought it was
something.
7.5.
Like
So
7.
that sound. I know it was too close to 9 than any bullpen
It's impossible.
should possibly have. Like, I feel like no, never mind. I'm not going to go that far. But at the same time, they almost can't be as bad. I do like Archie Bradley. I don't think he's like the lights out. He's going to shut the door every time. But
Sure
again,
enough.
yeah, what they did last year, Archie Bradley is a very good get for them. I agree.
They got Alvarado from the
Alvarado, yeah,
These are huge
again,
improvements. These are
Yeah.
huge improvements.
like they might not be the biggest names, but when you start all the way down here, like you'll take a guy that's right about the middle.
Yeah.
I agree with the rotation. I like Aaron Nola. We know Aaron Nola. We've seen him plenty being in the NL East. He's an ace. I do feel like Wheeler, at worst, is a 2. We've seen him. He's shown flashes. He's had ace-like stuff. He's gone on runs where he'd go months at a time where he's just untouchable.
He's not in the Met anymore, so now he stays healthy too.
That's true. He's become durable. Even those last couple of years with the Mets, he was just out there all the time. In the beginning of his career, he was just, you'd be lucky to see him take the mound. Now he's just every 5th day, you're getting Zach Wheeler.
Maybe there's a bias just because like we watch them so much, we know so much about them. But like I just feel like we hear about these guys like Vince Velasquez and like Zach Eflin and like Nick Pivetta for the longest time, where everyone's like, this guy's gonna be great. And like we watch them and the Mets just kill them every single time. It's like, who are
That's exactly what I was
Okay, but
thinking.
in our defense, we thought the same thing about Nola early in his career. We were like, "Oh, this guy's trash." Like every time he
Nola?
pitches, yeah.
The first
I
couple of
remember you two
years.
saying some strong words about Aaron Nola, and I agreed too. But eventually, he just caught on. Like eventually, he figured it out. So like, I'm not saying all three of them are going to figure it out because that's ridiculous to think like all three of those guys are just going to take the leap. But to say one or two of them might, I don't think that's ridiculous. I like Alec Boehm too. Really like Alec Boehm. Not
He's
a
good.
pitcher. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think the difference with Nola was at the time, since it was fantasy, we did think he was like a little too highly rated, but he was still young. It was maybe his second or third year. So that was more so our gripe with him, is that it's too early for him. Because he was always a big name prospect. He wasn't a nobody coming up. People expected him to be good. But with the rest of the rotation, I feel like Mark said, they've been around forever. And every time they come to New York, the Mets go to Philly, they just seem useless. And maybe it's because the Mets offense in the last couple of years has really picked it up and they become pretty much a loaded lineup. But at the same time, you're just waiting. It's like, oh, one of these days, this guy's he's gonna be locked in. He's gonna shut the door, and it just they don't do it.
I kind of fear the new guy is Spencer Howard, where he only played 10 games. I don't want to already put this title on him, but like he did not look impressive at all to me. But they're like talking that this big pitching prospect, he's gonna be sick. Like I was just not impressed in the slightest. Like I said, like you don't want to give this title already. Like the guys like Velasquez, Pivetta, all of them have like 100 starts in the show and they're still bad. Like I don't want to put this on this kid, but like I was just watching him. I was like, I don't see it. I don't see like an ace in the making here. But like I don't know. It's just like I feel like it's already like the Philly hype around him.
Yeah, I think what's gonna happen with them is like the same way for like after like 08, 09 until like the 2015, it was like, oh, like LOL Mets, everything they do just comes up short, nothing works. And now it's gonna be the same thing with the Phillies. It's like you can't expect much. A kid comes up, and I think pretty highly of Spencer Howard. I think he has potential, but he came up last year. He looked bad early in a COVID shortened weird season that so many guys were below. Like who expected Christian Yelich to bat 200? But you get a Phillies pitcher come up and struggle, and everyone's like, oh, there they go again. The Phillies are at it.
I think it's just going to be interesting to see how this team plays out because I feel like if things fall right for the Phillies, like they could win 86 games. I don't know. It's the division. I'm not good with the math, okay?
Yeah.
Where it's like if we're giving the Mets 91 and we're giving the Braves 91, can the Phillies even win 86 games? Like, is that possible? Like, I don't know in my head.
It would be
Like
a
maybe
lot of
the
losses for the
Nationals.
Marlins. The Marlins would have to win like 40 games, and that's an
But
area.
what about the Nationals? The Nationals could also
They
take
could do
all
it,
three
too.
of those.
Well,
What'd you say?
So they could do it too. They can help out with those wins.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, what if all three of those pitchers go down? Then who's pitching? I'm
Us.
pitching. This is the rotation. The three of us will be pitching for the Nationals.
At 81.5, I'm going to take the under. Like I said, they kind of just brought the band back together with Archie Bradley. I don't really think that's like the key. I think they're more of like a 78 win team, like right under the 80 win mark.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you. What a gentleman. I am taking the under too. I didn't get to it before because I was talking about the bullpen and then mainly I talked about pitching. But my main thing with them is the same thing that Mark said. They spent a lot of money to bring back the same team that was just underwhelming from start to finish. So I'm going with the under.
I'm going to take the over with a caveat, and the caveat being I will not bet on this core ever again if it doesn't work out this season.
This is your last hurrah with the
like I'm going to give them one more. I'm going to give them one more good. I'm going to let Spencer Hayward become the ace that he was meant to be. He's going to be the third ace in that bullpen because Wheels is going to take another step and Bryce Harper's going to bat. He's going to MVP numbers, 350, right? What did he bat? 350 with 70 home runs. That's what we're going to get from Bryce Harper this season. So yeah, I'm going to give the Phillies one more chance. I'm going to take the over.
All right, Frank takes the over with the Phillies. We'll go to the Marlins now. I think they're really tricky to talk about because they did make the playoffs in the 60-game season. Fun fact, I think they won 26 games. They won, I think, 15 9-inning games. All their games were like the weird 7-inning games that they won because they were one of the first teams with COVID. They missed the first like month of the season or whatever. They're at plus 3,200 for the division. Obviously, I hate that, but 71.5 wins does feel low. They do have a bunch of young pitching. Their lineup's not great. I do think they have some steady guys like Brian Anderson and like Corey Dixon are like steady, but they're not like great. They don't like blow you away. It's like, oh, they're real MLB hitters in the middle of the lineup type of thing where I don't know. They don't do a ton for me, but I do think they're over 71.5 wins.
I feel like they're building something that has potential to pay off in a few years. but I think last year was just kind of like mirage, and they are not ready yet. Like I think Sixto Sanchez is going to eventually be amazing, but at the same time, he had how many starts last year? Like I don't think they're ready. I don't think there's enough depth over there. The lineup is nothing special, and I do think they're. I don't think they're like an incompetent MLB team, but I think the division is just going to be too much for them.
You taking the under at 71.5?
I will take the under.
Oof. Frank, what do we
I'm
think?
taking the over. I like the Marlins a lot. I don't know. There's something about that lineup. I see potential.
You're
I
a
think they
Jesus
can play
Aguilar guy.
Jesus Aguilar. He's a moose. He's gonna hit 25 home runs this season, maybe. I don't know. That's my prediction. 25, over 25 for Jesus. If you want a little side
Yeah,
bet there.
I'll take the over on that too.
Over there you go. Dan's taking the over on that too. I really like Sixto, like you said. I also really like Pablo Lopez. I feel like he always gets it done for them. Like always. Like that guy is just so solid, and he doesn't get talked about because he's on the Marlins. Their bullpen's a concern for me. I could see them having a terrible year in the bullpen. And that's what concerns me more than anything else for the Marlins. But I really think that they're solid in the rotation. They're solid in the lineup. Like they're just going to be a team, like Mark said earlier. They're going to steal 2 out of 3 from like the NL East teams when they're not ready. And I think that because their win total projection is so low because of the division that they play in. Again, you put these guys in the AL Central and they're in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're not better than the White Sox, but I mean, there's not another team in that division where you're like, they're that much better than the Marlins. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the over. I like the Marlins a lot.
I think they could win the NL Central. I wouldn't rule it out.
There you go. The NL Central or the AL Central?
The NL Central.
Great segue. Great segue, Dan. We'll go over the NL Central now. I think 4 of these 5 teams honestly have a fighting chance. The Cardinals are number 1 right now, 86 wins, plus 100 to win the division. I don't love the Cardinals. I really
hate
don't.
the Cardinals.
I think they have a good team. I think I'm very worried about Nolan. I know a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, he's fine. I'm very worried about Nolan. I feel like he's like in this situation, he's being hyped up and like suggested like he's going to be fine and everything's normal. Like, not only is it leading cores, but he has a shoulder issue too, which is obviously key for hitting. I just don't think it's going to be like all sunshine and rainbows. I don't love Carlson. They're like guys that like people are just expecting to be amazing, which I'm not there. I'm not with it.
Well, you're wrong about Dylan Carlson. He's going to be dope, but I agree with everything else you said. Nolan gonna bat 240 this year.
I think that's aggressive.
But aggressive.
Definitely
aggressive.
What is he usually bat? 300? It's gonna be 240 this year.
I think like 270. I think like 270 with like 25 home runs.
That's really bad for what
I know, but it's not 240.
Well, they're okay. You know what? I'll adjust because you know we're talking this out. I'll go 255. All right, he's gonna bat 255 with 20 home runs.
Hey, you guys are tough on Nolan.
I'm worried.
No,
I'm worried.
I don't like it, and I think that I don't really like. I get it. They have Paul Goldschmidt. They have Nolan Arenado. Like, what is that lineup? I mean, like, what you know, like, what is in that lineup that really like makes you go like, okay,
the lineup does have question marks.
Like a lot, right? Like
I think
they're like a weak version of the Braves in a sense that they do have like some big names at the top, but again, it's not like Atlanta's level.
Their biggest name, right? And then Paul Goldschmidt's like solid, but like he's not what he used to be.
No. I think they're deep where you look at the lineup and you see a lot of good players, but there's no one that's like, watch out for him right now. Like, I don't like,
right.
I guess it's Goldschmidt and Nolan by default, but like, even at them at this point, like, I'm not like overly concerned when they come to the plate right now.
Okay. I feel like somebody needs to come to Nolan Arenado's defense here because this just seems like a Nolan roast. Through his career, he's hit 270 away from cores. It's not the 300 he's used to hitting, but that's when he has to adjust to going in and out of the altitude and having to factor in that he's playing half his game at cores. I think he can make that 280 when he gets used to not having to deal with that going in and out all the time. I think he can still hit 30 homers. So 250-20, that's tough. I'm going 280, 30 homers.
Does he have the opt-out after this season?
Yes, he does.
He does, but I think he said he's not going to use it probably, but he can still use it.
I wonder if he hits like really poorly. Maybe he'll opt out and go
No,
back.
he would
Go
stay
back.
for sure.
No, that's backwards.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want me back?
It's Dan, I want to believe it. I do, but I'm just very concerned. Busch Stadium's very big. It's one of the more pitcher-friendly parks. There's a lot going against him. Like I said, the shoulder is like one of the bigger things for me that I'm pretty worried about with him. And I know spring doesn't mean much, but he showed no extra base hit ability this spring so far. Like he has like one double, and like it's just. I think that's more of his health too. That I'm just concerned. I'm overly concerned. I don't know. I like him a lot. I like the player. I hope he's good. I'm just very worried.
I will say this about Nolan. He's one of those guys where like if he plays bad, like he's getting paid a lot of money and he has the opt-in next year where he can get paid a lot of money for like a really long time, no matter how bad he is. He's one of those guys where if he plays bad, it doesn't matter how much money he's making. Like he's going to be upset about it. So it's like, I think that this is going to be a tough year, but I feel like he could he could improve off of this, but I feel like this is almost, it's not like a rookie season, but like there's going to be an adjustment here where it's like, okay, I had a bad series, but now I'm going back to Coors Field and that's where the ball like pops off my bat. Now I had a bad series and we're staying in St. Louis, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like he could potentially have a bad year and then bounce back next year too. Like, I don't think that's out of the question. I don't know. He's one of those guys that it just doesn't sit right, which makes me feel better about him being out of Coors Field. Like, it doesn't sit right if he's playing bad with himself, which is like, not that anyone wants to play bad, but like you just tell like guys care more. And he's one of those guys that really cares. So I will say that about Nolan. I think it's going to be a rough start for him. And then we'll see what it's like in the middle of the season. But I think initially, like you said, Mark, the shoulder's bothering him. That doesn't help. I think it's going to be like a little bit of a rough start for him.
At 86 wins, I think it's a really great number because of how bad this division is. I'll take the over so slightly, like 87-ish.
Again, I feel like this is one of the tougher ones because that's like I could see them finishing at about like 86 wins. That's almost exactly where I want to put them.
Yeah, that's
what
really
I
do over there.
I do like the way that the team really puts a focus on defense. Like even losing Colton Wong, it feels like there's just not a bad defender out there, and that's like in a game that nowadays is almost like 3 true outcome game. That's one thing that not a lot of teams really do anymore, so they can beat teams that way. But at the same time, there is almost like what we said a minute ago. This is another team that has some question marks that it's hard to say right now. It's like, oh, that shouldn't be a problem. Like even me thinking that Nolan, I agree with Frank. I think Nolan it's gonna be an adjustment period at first. But I think between his just a skill that he's showed he's had for the past however many years, 8-9 years he's been in the league, if my math is right, which I don't think it is. Between that, I think Goldschmidt, again, he's not the Arizona Goldschmidt, but at the same time, he's been steady for a majority of his career. I still want to take the under, though. There's just too many.
And I don't fault you in the slightest bit for that. Someone's got to beat the Pirates. I don't like the Reds. We'll talk about them in a minute. Frank, what do you think?
First of all, if you're a gambling man out there, don't bet on this. Like, don't bet on this because this one could literally go either way. I'm gonna take the under. I feel like this is a division that could be like tied at the end at like 84, 85 games, and there could be 3 teams there, like around that mark, not like actually at that mark, but like around that mark. I'm gonna take the under. I don't like the Cardinals. I don't like the way they build their teams. They're super boring. It's a boring franchise. Sorry, Cardinals fans. I don't like your team. It's boring. That's all I'm going to say. I want them to lose. I'm taking
the under 86.
I'm taking the under at 86, but ever so slightly. You guys are right. If they win 87 games, I wouldn't be shocked. And if they win 85 games, I wouldn't be shocked. And if they win exactly 86, I would not be shocked. So, it's a good range.
Now over to the Brewers. I actually like the Brewers a lot. They're plus 310 to win this division. 83.5 is their win total. I feel like they're better than the Cardinals from top to bottom. I think their lineup might be like a little lighter, kind of just Yelich and Keston right now with a few other like role players in there. But I like the crew. I think they have good pitching, a really strong bullpen, and I actually picked them to win this division.
The Brewers, to me, the lineup is like you said, like it's not as good as the Cardinals, and I don't want to say it's bad, but like, just again, we talk about question marks with every team. That is their question mark, I feel like. And I mean, I'm not worried about Yelich. I think he'll bounce back, right? I don't think anyone here is really that concerned after a 60-game season. But you talked about Keston. After that, like who's their guy? You know, like two guys can't get it done. They really concern me with the lineup. I love their bullpen, obviously. Um, Devin Williams is a stud, and Josh Hader's been a stud for a really long time. Those guys are going to single-handedly win games for the Brewers, which is something you can't say about a lot of teams. So they have that as a major, major strength. Maybe the best like 1-2 punch in a bullpen in the entire league. So that's kind of big for them. But that lineup really, really concerns me.
I agree with Mark. I think they are. I have them winning the division too. I think the first thing you'll think of with them is that bullpen. Like, how many teams have a guy as good as Hader? How many teams have a guy as good as Devin Williams? And they have the both of them. Lefty righty combo. I think that's just not fair. I like the top of their rotation between Woodruff, Corbin Burns. I think there's talent there that the rest of the division just doesn't really have. I think Christian Yelich is going to bounce back. Like, personally, I don't put as much weight in last season, like the guys that really struggled. Like, a guy nearly wins 2 straight batting titles and hits 200. I think that 200 is just like, it's a fluke.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come back and be as good as we've seen Christian Yelich be the last couple of years. I think they're a team that, again, defensively, I think they're strong. I like the middle infield now being RC and Wong. I think there's talent there.
We got Jackie Bradley too up the middle, so they are
Jackie Bradley, Lorenzo
much improved
Cain still there.
defensively. Well,
Right?
They're playing to their strengths. You know, they don't have a good hitting lineup, so they're playing good defense with the pitching and keeping
Right.
games close. Yeah.
I think Low Kane might play right, or Jackie Bradley might play right. They might like mix around what they're
Yeah,
going to do there.
that's a really good defensive outfield. I think with them, I don't think they're, besides the bullpen with their 2 big arms, I don't think they're a powerhouse in one specific facet of the game, but I think there's talent everywhere. I think they can hit a little bit. I like the defense. I like the top of the rotation. I like the back end of the bullpen. There's nothing with the Brewers that I look at and say they're just bad at.
All right, so at this point, it's clear that Dan and I are thinking 83.5, the over. Frank, how are you feeling 83.5?
I'm gonna take the under.
Okay.
Again, I think it's a good number though. Like if they win 84 games, I'm not going to be surprised. And if they win 80 games, I'm also not going to be surprised. You know, like you guys like them to win the division. I don't even know who I like to win the division.
Someone has to do it.
We're going to go to the Cubs or the Reds next. They're all right there. You know what I mean? Like I don't really think one of these teams is better than the other. But we're going to talk about the other team, so I won't keep going. I'll take the under, but again, don't bet on this. Don't put money on this. Unless you're really sure, unless you have some insider information, then go ahead and do it. But
the Reds are next at plus 350 in the division. 81.5 is their total. I just don't like the team. I just don't see it. I mean, like, I think Luis Castillo is great. They don't really have anyone after. Sonny Gray's hurt right now, so like he's the other like arm in that rotation. I think Tyler Mahle gets game 2 now, and then like Wade Miley gets game 3. I mean, they have hitters that we like. They have like Castellanos, and they have like Moustakas, and Eugenio's going to play short now. I just don't really like what they're doing over there.
I agree. I think Castillo we know when he's on, he's pretty much as close to unhittable as guys get. His changeup is just silly.
He might not be there, right? Like he might not be there halfway through the season.
They might trade him.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I feel like sometimes he shows flashes of being that good, but every now and then he'll just fall off and he'll just get roughed up.
Yep.
And he ends up being like, I think at worst, he's a really good number 2. I don't think he's been consistent enough to call him the ace yet. And then you have Sonny Gray being hurt. I have no clue what's going on in the infield. You have Joey Votto still playing. Eugenio's playing shortstop. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen.
They move Moustakas back to third, where his natural position to play Johnny India at second base. It's there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think there's too much going on. I think there's talent there, but at the same time, I don't think it's being utilized the right way.
They lost Bauer, obviously. They traded Raisel Iglesias, their closer, for nothing. They got like one major league player back. They actually released him yesterday, like no Ramirez. I just don't really see it. I don't know what they're.
No, I think I agree with you. I think this is going to be a rebuilding period coming for Cincinnati.
I don't know if I've seen a team that's more concerning defensively than the Reds are. Like with Eugenio playing shortstop. Like think about that. Like I mean like maybe he can do it. Maybe I'll be sitting here when we close things out at the end of the season saying, "Wow, Eugenio Suarez, the Gold Glove. I did not see that coming." But I don't think that that's going to be the sentence that I'm going to be uttering. Like they are just, and Joey Votto is not good anymore. Like he's not good anymore. And then like I like Castellanos a lot, and I love Eugenio's bat. Like obviously,
Isn't Castellanos like a notably bad defender? Isn't that a thing?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he is.
Yeah. So like defensively, they are. Who did they replace? Who did they put at second base?
Their top prospect guy. Like we might be good. We don't know, but like it's
What's
just
his name?
I don't know enough about him. Jonathan India.
Jonathan India.
All right, India might be coming to my fantasy team. We'll see. That's good luck. I'm going to take the under.
81.5. I think we're all taking the under. Is that fair to say?
I haven't taken an over in the
Easily.
NL Central yet.
Go over to the Cubs now. I think the Cubs are getting a little too much hate right now, like a little too much. They're plus 500 in the division. 78.5 is their total. I think they're a lot better than the Reds. I think they're like comparable to the other two teams if things break right. They're another team like if things break right. Obviously, they traded Darvish. I think Zach Davies is like a quality arm. Obviously, he's not Darvish, but he'll keep you in games. I think Jock could be a nice addition. And then the offense can't be as bad. Like Chris Bryant and Baez, these guys can't play as poorly as they did. So I think over 78.5 feels good for the Cubs.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the over there. I don't know why I like the Cubs, but I like the Cubs. Like you said, Chris Bryant, I think, is the real key here. If he can go back, maybe, I mean, like, listen, he was an MVP. He probably won't win the MVP this season. But if he can go back to something that maybe resembles that, like they could be really good. Tony Meatballs is a constant over there, Anthony Rizzo. So yeah, I mean, I like the Cubs to go over, and I haven't taken an over yet in this division. So somebody's got to do it, and it's not going to be the Pirates. So yeah, I'll take the Cubs over.
You see, I feel like they have the talent that I want to take the over, but the direction they're going, like I'd be surprised if Chris Bryant finishes the season as a Cub. So I don't know what they're doing over there. They traded Darvish for like, yes, they got a quality arm back, but look what Darvish gave them last year. I know it was to get out of money.
Huge drop off for sure.
Yeah. So that just makes me think, what direction are they trying to go in? Which makes me think these guys that they have, like I don't think Bryant finishes the year in Chicago. But at the same time, I think Baez improves. I think Rizzo's good.
With
like,
how bad the division is, they can be put into a really difficult situation where if they're like 2 games out of the Central and they can't really trade Chris Bryant at that point, like they can't really trade Javi Baez at that point. They're gonna be like really like pinched because they obviously have a really big fan base. Everyone knows like the Cubs, like they have a very loyal fan base. Like a lot of people support them. So if you're like 2 games back of the Cardinals and you blow it up, that's a bad look.
They do have the ability to, well, I don't know how much they're going to get back for Bryant and Baez on expiring contracts. I guess it really depends on how they're playing. But like if Hobby's batting like 280 and has like 15 to 20 home runs at the deadline, like, and then he's going to be a free agent, like how much realistically are they getting back for that? Same thing with Bryant. Like you could use the same numbers. Like if they're doing that, like what are they going to get back? I don't know. To me, like to lose Chris Bryant, like the way he was hyped up, he won an MVP for that team. He's not that old. That just seems like a miss. Like I know like sometimes franchises decide to go in a different direction, change of sceneries, but Chris Bryant with the Cubs, like that just they can't get rid of him. Like he should be a Cub. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
All right.
I feel like that's been one last thing. I feel like that's been like a souring relationship for a while with the service time stuff that was going on with him. Moving, like, sure, he's able to do it, but they're moving him around the field to like every position.
Yeah.
Like, and with all these trade rumors, I feel like where there's smoke, there's got to be a fire somewhere. It just seems
true.
like
His name's been in the media forever in terms of trades. And it's also true with Frank. I can't really imagine him in another uniform, but it does feel like this union or marriage of sorts will be coming to an end in the near future. Frank and I take the over at 78.5. Dan, what do you think about 78.5?
I'm still gonna take the over.
Okay. Pirates are next. Not a whole lot to talk about. Plus 7,500, 58.5. Is there anything of note to speak about besides Brian Hayes about this team?
Brian Hayes. You did it.
No.
No.
It's that easy,
no.
right? Just,
I like Colin Moran. He's solid.
I mean, they're probably going to get Jack Leiter. That's fun. A couple of months from now, they'll
There you
like
go.
Jack Leiter with the first overall pick.
The thing is, everyone
And if
thinks
not
it's going
him,
to
they'll
be
get
Kumar
his
Rocker.
teammate.
Yeah.
Or Kumar
Rocker
Rocker
has been the consensus like number one guy, but then
is
Leiter
he
doesn't
Jack
throws a
Leiter
no
right
hitter.
now in terms of like the draft board?
It's been Rocker for a while, but I mean, how do you factor in a guy comes out and throws a no hitter, then his next start throws 7 no hit innings? Like,
yeah, I don't think they're like that great prospect wise either right now. The Pirates. I just think it's going to be a lot of years of misery again. Kind of back.
They have a pitcher coming up, right? Mitch Keller, is that?
He's already up.
Yeah.
I don't think he's anything to write home about. Like maybe he can like pan out.
Yeah, I can see him being like a steady major league arm, but I don't think it's like. I don't think he's going to be their ace.
You look for any improvement, you know. So if he does become
Right.
steady, it's like, hey, we got Mitch Keller at the top of that rotation, you know.
Sure
No, I feel bad for the Pirates. They came so close with those stupid wild card games, and didn't they lose the wild card game like every year, like for like 3 or 4 years, something like that? I feel really bad for that franchise, those fans. They're about to go through a rough spot, but hey, you know, when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonades, and Brian Hayes is some lemonade. Let me tell you.
58.5 is so low. I'm just going to take the under. But like, I don't have players.
I mean, there's going to be so many teams battling it out.
Like pitch? Who's going to pitch for the Pirates?
Mitch Keller. We talked about how this division is going to be so closely contested. Those other teams are going to want these games against the Pirates. That's so low, though.
It's so low.
I'm gonna take the under, but I don't feel good about it. Like I don't really feel good about it.
I think I have to take the under too. Like I want to say, it's like they can win 60. Like 102 losses isn't like it's still really bad, but they can win 60 games. But like I don't see it.
An everyday starter for that team and just going out like Colin Moran, my guy. Imagine like you're gonna win, you're gonna lose 100. You're gonna take the field 160 times, and you're gonna lose 100 times. That's so many losses.
I read a report about like Gregory Polanco being hyped up again. I was like, guys, this was like 5 years ago. Gregory Polanco was hyped up. Like, how is he even still like around? Like, they're like, oh, he could really come into his own. He's like 30 something. I don't know. Let's move past the NL Central. NL Central in the rear view. We go to the NL West now. The Dodgers, obviously, 8-time reigning NL West champions. Minus 300, 103.5 win total. Won the World Series in the 60-game season. Added Trevor Bauer. They're amazing. I don't know if there's a ton more to say.
Down with the Dodgers. That's all I have to say. I want to see anyone beat the Dodgers in the playoffs except for the Braves. Anyone not in the NL East besides the Mets, like beat the Dodgers. I'm so game with that. Like they're just they're really good.
Pieces walk. They let like Kike and Jock and a few other like smaller pieces walk, but like they're going to be fine. They're going to like find some other random kid from AAA who's going to do what Jock did and hit 30 home runs. It's like
they also have what's his name? The kid that's been Gavin Lux, who's been he's supposed to be rookie of the year every single year. I'm pretty sure he's still eligible. Actually, I
don't know if he is, but it's fine.
And they have Kerbert Ruiz, the catcher. There, Brusdar Gratterall is coming on. So like. They're young
too. They're young.
It's just a rookie of the year factory in LA. It's crazy.
They do a really good job, and that's why you gotta hate them. But what's their over under?
103.5. I'm confidently taking the over.
Oh, that's so
confidently.
Yeah, no questions.
All right, I'll take the over too. You've convinced.
Yeah, I take. They don't do anything wrong. They're incredible defensively. They hit. They're deep.
They're so deep.
Yeah, the pitching.
Like they're getting an issue.
What was it?
Maybe.
Can their bullpen be an issue?
I mean, I guess, but it's still better than so many other teams.
And Trevor Bauer could stink too. Like we don't know. We're hoping
he could. Like there are a lot of variables.
He's going to be there 3, and I think he can. I think he's good enough to handle that.
You're saying if he stinks, he's going to be there 3, which is true.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good enough to be a 3 starter.
It doesn't even matter. Like he doesn't even factor in like maybe the postseason. Like the regular season, he doesn't even matter.
At the same time, they're getting David Price back. He's not like Tampa David Price anymore. But again, like
Who's the 5?
They're
Who's the 5
pushing.
starter?
It's probably Urias. They're
Um,
pushing Dustin May and Tony
Oh, they have
Gonsolin.
Dustin May too. Yeah.
Pushing
Oh
these
my
guys to
god.
the bullpen. It's gross. I hate it.
They have a lot of
they're
players.
loaded. They do
They have a
nothing
lot of
wrong.
young like we named 4 guys that are like pretty highly regarded prospects, like between like the 2 pitchers and Cabrian Hayes and
They'll get him too. They'll find
yeah,
a way.
yeah, well, yeah, eventually he'll be a Dodger. Don't
I
worry.
think the one story to watch here is Corey Seager is in his contract year, so we shall see what happens there.
You think
He's
that
gonna be even better.
he's gonna hit like 400 or
I think he's amazing, and I think it's gonna be interesting, like a story to follow to see if the Dodgers try to extend him mid-season or if like he hits the market. Like what kind of I've read some stuff that like the Yankees have reportedly been like really like stingy on their money at the with the intentions of going all in on him, which makes a lot of sense. Like they haven't had a good lefty there in forever, and it's obviously plays so well for lefties.
Is he a
we'll
Boris
see
guy?
if Francisco Lindor's
I
contract
don't know
gets
if he's
done
Boris.
before the season starts, because that'll be not a roadmap, but you got to think that the numbers will be similar. I think Lindor's going to wind up making more
Yeah.
money, but I don't think it's going to be crazy much more. So I think that's going to set the tone. A lot of shortstops, free agents this season, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, that could be a good
Baez, Lindor, Correa, Corey Seager. So yeah, that's going to be the Mets need to get that done before opening day.
All right, we go to the Padres next, plus 200 in the division. I mean, like, I think there's a path. I think there's a possibility, just like you're not going to go against the Dodgers type of thing. They've obviously done really well. They brought in Snell, they brought in Darvish, they brought in like Joe Musgrove to shore up that rotation. 94.5, I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the over. Like you said, I think something would need to go terribly wrong in LA for the Padres to come away the division winner
Like
here.
multiple things. Like
Yeah,
more than
like
one thing.
Bauer needs to look like Arizona Bauer, not even Cleveland Bauer. David Price needs to miss the whole year again. They're loaded. They're just too good. But the Padres, they're loaded in their own right. They're not Dodgers loaded, but at the same time, like where's their flaw?
The Padres to me are good enough are not good enough to take this division away from the Dodgers, but I think plenty good enough to compete with the Dodgers in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about divisions right now, not playoffs. So like I think that the Dodgers are going to have like because of we talked about a lot of good NL teams, right? Nothing in the Central, but on the coasts, we have a lot of good teams. So like the Dodgers aren't going to walk into the World Series. Now, they're still the favorite. They should be the favorite. They are the best team as everything stands right now and everyone's healthy. But the Padres are a really good team in their own right. They're deep in the rotation. Again, there's some health concerns. They got Darvish. He's another year older. That's got to be, eventually, Father Time is unbeaten. Eventually, these guys are going to fall off, but he hasn't. He bounced back nicely after a bad season a few years ago. So I really like the Padres. I think their bullpen is fine. Their lineup is obviously a lot of fun, a lot of firecrackers in there. You got like Trent Grisham. We don't need to talk about Machado and Tatis. They're going to do their thing. I really like the Padres. I'll take the over on the number, but they're not going to win the division, like you guys said, unless something really, really goes wrong for the Dodgers.
I think they're a lock to face either the Mets or the Braves in the wild card game.
I agree with that. It's funny. I feel like they're the second best team in baseball, but at the same time, I don't think they really have a shot at winning their own division.
A Mets
which
Dodgers
is a weird position.
A Mets Padres wild card game or a Braves Padres wild card game sounds like absolute torture for those two fan bases that are in the game and so much fun for the rest of the league. I mean, like you could have Jake DeGrom against, I don't even know who the Padres would put out there. Like I want to believe it's Lamet, like after that last season, but isn't he hurt? I don't know. Is he hurt right now? Or
it might be. It's gonna probably be Darvish or Snell.
I think it would be one of those two.
I mean, you talk about the stars that would be in that game with the Mets again. Acuna, Tatis, if it were the Braves. I mean, that's a lot. Like that them in the wild card game with one of those two teams in the East. That would be so much fun. Just so much fun. Except if you're a fan of that team, then
I really hope this is the Braves because this sounds like it would be a lot of pressure on the Hart that I don't need. But it would be so much fun to watch if the Mets were not a part of it. And it's crazy that two of these teams are going to be playing in the wild card game, and like the Brewers or the Cardinals, right to the NLDS.
And again, we're talking about the Padres again, and if they could beat the Braves or beat the Mets or whoever the other wild card team is, that most likely puts them with the Dodgers in the first round of that playoff. So that's going to be a story to watch too. Like those teams are going to be out, to get each other once the season starts, like see if any like bad blood formed or a real rivalry, because the Padres are a real rival for the Dodgers right now.
Yeah.
easily.
They're not
They
better.
hate each other, especially that last playoff series that they just
Mhm.
played in the shortened year.
Yeah.
There's
So
serious bad blood with those teams,
that's
which
gonna
makes it
be
even
exciting.
that much more fun to watch.
Yeah, obviously, I want the Mets to go as far as possible, but if it comes down to that wild card game and it's not the Mets in there, I'll be rooting for the Padres to go on and face the Dodgers.
All right, and then the three teams. I don't know if it's fair to group them all together. I think the
Can you
Giants
skip it?
probably are a little above the other two, but Giants plus 5,000, Diamondbacks plus 7,500, and Rockies all plus 7,500. The Rockies win total is seven. The Giants win total is 75. I think that's a really good number. I'd probably take the under. I don't really like much that's going on with the Giants.
You think we see Joey Bart this year?
You saw him last year. I mean, like at some point he'll probably come up, but Posey's back. They
Yeah.
got Kirk Casale to back him up.
Yeah, I think with Posey coming back, I doubt it because I don't think they're gonna push. Like they don't have much going in San Francisco. I think I'm taking the over on 75.
he
So I
looked
do think there's
overwhelmed.
some talent there. Exactly. I do think he'll get some minor league time again. And there's not much going on there. They're not exactly in a position to push Buster Posey out the door.
I'll take the
Yeah.
under 75. Frank, what do you think about 75?
I'm gonna take the under again, just because these teams at the top, those two teams at the top are gonna win so many games. That I could literally see all these three teams going under. But I mean, again, these numbers are set for a reason. They're all good. Like I haven't heard one number that's like outrageous. Even like the except for the Pirates, the poor Pirates, that is outrageous. But I still took the under, so I guess it's not
Still
outrageous
fair.
at all. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say about the Giants. Like they had their day in the sun. Like it's time for a rebuild. Question for you guys though. Do you think that Posey could possibly get traded, or is he just one of those guys that's got to be a Giant for life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because he could still add value to a playoff team competing.
I can't see it. I feel like that's one of those situations where maybe they go to him and ask him. I just don't see a scenario where that happens. I feel like they can't move him.
Like it would be doing him a favor. Like, I'm not saying they would get anything back from him, but like they go like, hey, Buster, like, do you want to try for one more ring? Like, we could send you to, Gary Sanchez went down. We could send you to the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being ridiculous. I don't know.
I think he needs to prove that he can still play at a level that warrants a team that's in it making him their number one catcher.
I just thought he could add some like veteran value, you know what I mean? But maybe he's not even that good that he could be the backup catcher on a competing team or like fill in for someone who's injured now.
I do still think he has value, but at the same time, I don't think he would need to show that he would need to have an improvement from what he showed in 2019 because I don't think a team would be willing to pay the price that it would cost to get him.
Right.
Or if I don't think they'd be willing to take the contract either. Because
The year off might have been good for his legs. So we'll see what happens there.
Possible.
Okay. Can't rule it out.
Arizona in fourth. I feel like they really don't have much going either. It sucks Zach Gallen got hurt. They gave Bumgarner that massive deal, and he kind of looks like he's washed now, which is kind of sad, but maybe he can like put something together. A few hitters I like Ketel Marte, I like Dave Peralta. They're both pretty consistent, good players, but just overall, there's not much there.
With them, you're right, and like the sucky part about the Diamondbacks right now is not only is there not really a lot going on the current team, but like, do they have anything coming up through the pipeline? Like, do they have any like stud players where you're like, oh, like
Not off the
you've
top
named
of
a
my head.
few
Yeah.
on some of these other teams? Like the Dodgers have 4 and they've been in first place.
Nothing that instantly comes to mind.
So like that kind of stinks for the Diamondbacks. They just kind of seem like they're in this position of like I don't know. I kind of like them better than the Giants. Like if I'm being honest, like I kind of like the team better than the Giants, like a little bit. But I mean, not by much. Like, what's their win total?
74.5. I'm going to take the over ever so slightly, like 75.
I'll take the over as well.
I am going to take the under. I think the Giants, they're not great, but I do think they have a few things going their way.
Okay.
And the Diamondbacks, I think it's just those two bats. I do like Zach Gallen, but again, he's hurt. He just broke his arm.
Now the Rockies, I think the Rockies could probably rival the Pirates for the worst team in baseball. Obviously, trading Nolan Arenado, getting nothing back of major league value. Trevor Story probably gets traded. I'd be surprised if he ended up this season as a Rocky. Plus 7,500 win division, 63.5. I'm going to take the under.
How many years does Trevor Story have left on his contract?
This is his contract year.
Okay, then yeah, he's gone.
He's done.
Comparing to the Pirates, I think Trevor Story alone is worth more than the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's fair.
So I do have them above the Pirates at least. But I think what they're doing is just awful for baseball, giving away the best player probably you've ever produced in the history of your franchise for nothing. You're paying him this year to play for another team. You got next to nothing back. I think they're just it's about to get really bad in Colorado.
This is a bad team. Like, this is a really bad team. Like, and again, I just talked about it with the Diamondbacks. What do they have to look forward to? Like, do they have anything? Like, a Ryan Tapia and Brandon Rogers doing anything for anybody in this?
I mean, like,
phone call right
I
now?
think Rogers was a top prospect. I think Ryan Tapia is more of like a role guy who I could also see getting moved. Like, I don't think he's like a future piece.
Okay, so like, I don't. What about their pitching situation? It's never good there.
People actually like some of their arms. Like, I know people like Kyle Freeland,
Yeah.
they like Herman Marquez, but like, I don't know. Like Senzatella had a nice year in the 60 game, but it's just like
it's nothing special. It's
Like,
just
I'll take the
it's
under.
quality.
And I think that they could come in last place in like the entire league too, because I'll take a year of Cabrian Hayes over half a year of Trevor Story. Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying? Because like if Trevor Story,
I understand what you're saying.
if you're
I
talking
do
about
not
like
agree,
the
but I
value
understand what you're
of
saying.
those guys, like I don't know, they could come in last place. I'm taking the under because they're bad. They're bad. Like they're bad.
Yeah. I don't remember the number you said, but just know I'm taking the under anyway.
it was 63.5. All
Easy
the
under.
We'll go over the American League now. We'll look past the National League in the rearview mirror. Go to the AL East. There's one winner here, sadly. I think we all know that this is the Yankees division. It's very clear. They're at minus 220. Obviously, they're favored at minus.
Heavy favorite.
Yeah, heavy favorite. Their win total is 95.5. I like the over a lot there. I don't like these teams much.
What was the win total?
95.5.
Oh yeah, take that over. Smash that over.
Like you know how bad the Orioles are going to be. We'll get to other teams in a minute, but like it's just one of those things where it's like if Voit went down and it doesn't matter. It's like all right, they'll play Jay Bruce and he'll do the same thing the Voit did. Like it's just like I don't know. We've seen it so many times.
It just works.
It doesn't matter. We've seen it so many times. They lost Britton. It won't matter. Some other kid will show up and pitch better than Britton did. It's just I don't know.
Once I saw Vernon Wells and Lyle Overbay lead them to a playoff team, that's when I realized it doesn't matter.
Like you
the
should.
Yankees are going to be good.
About the rotation. Like, we should be very worried, but like they'll piece it together. Like it's
exactly. Like I don't think it's a special rotation, but there's 3-4 teams in the American League that are even trying. I think it's
in the playoffs. I mean, you can definitely hurt them, but in the regular season, it doesn't.
That I agree. The regular season.
The only thing we have to talk about with the Yankees is their rotation, which is I'm not going to say it's a mess. Like it's not a mess. They definitely have some talent, but you know, those guys, most of them haven't pitched games in a while. So, I mean, Cole, obviously at the top, he's a stud. He's the second best pitcher in baseball. But really, I mean, there's not really a question. The Yankees are going to make it. It doesn't matter. Here's my question for you guys. Does Aaron Judge play over or under 100 games this season?
100's light. I'll take the over.
Yeah, over.
Giancarlo Stanton, over or under 100 games this season?
I'll tell you 110 to 120 for both.
Yeah. If you said like 130, maybe I would have to think about it. But 100, I feel like you can miss 2 months. And
I'm going to take the under for one of them, but I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't know. Like one of them is going to miss time.
Listen,
one of them is going to miss significant time.
DHs now, which is really a detriment to that team. Like it really hurts them. He has to be locked in as a DH, and he's on the team for 10 more years. But it's so hard. Like he did it last year, so like it's so hard to get hurt as a DH. Like he did it running the bases last year.
He's done it like every single year.
Like Judge is a lock.
He's like one of those guys that's never been healthy throughout his whole career too. Like he swings the bat the wrong way, and I don't know with Stan, but like it could be Judge too. Judge, phenomenal outfielder. Like one of the best right. Like if Mookie Betts didn't play right field, Judge would be the best right fielder in the entire league. But that being said, last 2019, I remember him diving for a ball. The Yankees are 10 games up on the division. Aaron Judge is diving for balls. Like I love the hustle. Like in the beginning of the season,
turn it off. You can't be like, oh, we're up 10.
You got to turn it off. Like for him, he has to learn to turn it off. Like I know what you're saying, but like you cannot be diving for balls, Aaron Judge. You can't do that. Like you are a big piece of this Yankee team. They need you in the playoffs. You cannot be diving for balls. It could just be. I don't like it. Like I don't like it.
I think
the Yankees are gonna win. I'm going on.
Maybe it's not everybody, but that's a thing that like there's some player they could be up like 40 games on
I
the
know,
division.
I know.
And this
But,
guy, I'm not letting this ball drop in front of me for the pitcher, for myself. Like, you just can't do it.
if that's like a 200-pound, 6-foot player, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, dive for that ball. But that is Aaron Judge. He is like 6'9", 250 pounds of pure muscle. Like, you can't do it, Aaron Judge. I don't know. You gotta. I wish I could talk to him. Be like, hey, man, listen. They'd rather you on the field than diving for those balls.
All right, we're all taking the over 95.5. We're going to the Blue Jays now. They made a lot of news in the offseason, obviously signing the likes of Springer, Semien, making some trades, bringing like Steven Matz, some other guys. I don't love them. Their win total is 86. I think that's fair, but like I think the way they're being hyped up, I don't really see it. I don't think they're that next level team. Like I don't think they're making the playoffs this year at all.
Okay, here's my thing with the American League. They're like they could be a wild card team easily because I don't know. Like you look across the American League and like there's not really a lot of like second teams in the American League where you're like, okay, like I think the West could get a team, but like you think the Central is going to get a playoff team? You think the West is going to get two?
I like I like two teams in both the West and the Central more than them, maybe three.
You like two teams in the Central?
Yes.
Okay, I'm interested to hear who that is. But I generally like the Blue Jays. I like the direction they're going. It feels like every single year they keep climbing up and up and up, and it's probably been a little bit slower than they would like over there in Toronto. But that being said, they're going to take another jump this year. Vlad Guerrero is the key, right? Like he is the key. Like if he can like break out and do what people like say he's going to do, like I don't believe he can. Like you guys know, like we've had that conversation before. But if he can take that next step and become that player that everyone thinks he can be, then I think they could be in a really good spot.
I don't even know if he's the key though, because I think he has all the potential in the world. I think he could be great, but when you look at their rotation and you see Hyunjin Ryu, and after him it's Robbie Ray and Steven Matz, it's like, how are we gonna get our way through this rotation? Like, I don't know. Like, even the Red Sox and the Rays are going to be like competitive. They're going to be like confident.
It's just not a good like the whole league from top to bottom, and they have a more talented team than like a lot of like especially in the lineup. I don't know. I think they could steal a few wins. What is the total?
86.
Go ahead, Dad. Sorry, I cut you off.
All right, yeah. So I'm going to take it a step above you. The key, including Vlad, I think it's all the kids. Like him, Bichette, Biggio, all the juniors. I think they've all shown signs that they could be really good major league players. But the thing is, they need to do it. Collectively, all of them need to step up this year. They need the guys they brought in, the Springers, the Semiens, and even like the extra guys. Like I know they had Robbie Ray already, but him and Matz, they need to step up. We know what Ryu is. He's good. We know he's going to be good. I think they should be in the running for a wild card spot, but at the same time, I can see it taking longer than just this year, because I do think they have the potential to be within the next few years. They could be a really good team.
Yeah.
But to put all your eggs in one basket and say this is the year all those kids it clicks, that's a little harder to see because we know what Bichette is, we know what Vlad can be, we know what Kevin Biggio can be, but they all need to click.
All right, 86. I'm going to take the under. I think they're like an 84-ish win team.
I'm taking the over. I feel good about the Blue Jays. I really like Ryu at the top of that staff. I think he's one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. I'm going to take the over. The Vlad's the key. Like Quincy said, the kids are the key.
I am going to also take the over. I don't want to go much over. Like I wouldn't say they'd win 90 games, but again, part of it is most of the American League isn't trying.
Yeah.
I think.
Good point. You know they're going to be buyers.
Yeah.
You know they're going to try.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think one thing, it could be a facade, but we've said for years, Steven Matz is like, oh, his stuff is good. He's untouchable for 3 innings. And all of a sudden you look and it's 5 innings, 8 earned somehow. And the way he's pitched this spring, I can see him being a change of scenery guy and being at least a quality major league pitcher.
Maybe somebody just sees something in his windup or something like that.
His stuff has been too good his whole career for him to be this
It's true.
bad.
We've seen like he does have good stuff, but he always managed to get hit around the ballpark. Just
the most hitter-friendly like venue in the whole MLB in the American League East. They have obviously Camden, Yankee Stadium, Fenway. It's just I'm very worried for him. I hope he puts it together. I have no ill feelings towards him. I thought he was a really solid Met, obviously inconsistent, but he really helped out. All right, so I'll take the under. You two are going to take the over on the Blue Jays.
And
Yes.
I'm also pulling for Steven Matz. I hope he pitches very well there.
I'm rooting for him. He should be better. He should have been better his whole career. I think, like you said, it's hitter heavy the entire division, but the change of scenery, his stuff is too good. He needs to at least be like a 4 starter or
All right.
3. Like,
We'll go to the Rays now. They're also at 86. They obviously lost to the Dodgers in the World Series in the 60-game season. The Rays have an arrogance to them where they lost in the World Series and they're like, we can just trade Blake Snell now and it's all good. Like, we'll be fine. And like, it bothers me a little bit. I think 86 is a good number. I think that's really reasonable. I'll probably take the over ever so slightly. I do think they're a little bit better than the Blue Jays because they do have the pitching. But I don't know. Like I said, they kind of rub me the wrong way with how they're like, we can just trade Blake Snell for some kids and we'll be fine. And like Charlie Morton can walk and it's all good with the Rays. Like, I don't know. It's a little annoying.
see, I want to go with.
Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm going to go with the under ever so slightly because I do agree with you in the sense that they kind of letting Snell and Morton go. Not the best idea, but we know what the Rays are. They're just a pitching factory. It doesn't matter who they bring in. And they bring in Patino, who we know he's a big name in terms of prospect level. He's a big name. It just seems like no matter what they do, it works. The lineup, for the most part, there's not much change there. We assume at some point Wander Franco is going to be up and helping them. And while he's done nothing in the major league level yet, it's just he's so talented in every aspect of the game.
Yeah.
I just think the Yankees, the Blue Jays slightly, I can interchange the two of them between the Rays and the Blue Jays. But it's the Yankees division, and then those two are just going to be around the same level for a wild card spot.
For sure.
Yeah, the Rays are one of those teams where you really like them until they do what they did this offseason. It's like, okay, like I get it. You're a small market team. You don't have money to spend. You're really good at prospects, blah, 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 blah. But like you could pay one guy, like you could make one guy that they don't do it. Like they did it with, I guess, Evan Longoria. Like they just don't do it. It's so frustrating. Like, do you know how good you could be? Like if you strung 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys and just kept them, like, I get it. That's how they do it. They make stars, they trade them, they get the prospects, they make the new stars. But they could keep one guy. I don't know. It bothers me. Blake Snell's not the guy that I would have wanted them to keep because they didn't let him go past 5 innings the entire season last season. It was an issue in the World Series. I'm going to take the under, but they're interchangeable. So, I'll take the under.
See, they found the cheat code. They had their star in Archer, let him go to Pittsburgh and get terrible, then bring him back at that value. Watch Chris Archer be good this year.
Jeez.
Just because that's who the Rays are.
And that's the arrogance of it. Like, we'll just get Chris Archer, Michael Wacha, and Rich Hill. We're fine. I'm just like, you guys suck. All right, on to the Boston Red Sox now. Their win total is set at 79.5. I don't love the Red Sox. I think they're going to be better for sure. They were awful last year, obviously. Their lineup's going to be really good. It's the pitching that I think everyone just naturally worries about. I like the under at 79.5.
I got one name for you.
Sure.
Bobby Dahlback. Kid's going to hit
Is he going
so
to
many
pitch?
home
He's going to pitch?
No, he's going to hit so many home runs.
They did that already. It didn't work.
Maybe the pitch.
That being said, the Red Sox are still going to be not great. But Bobby Dahlback, so many home runs.
We'll get to Rookie of the Year later, but I think it's safe to say that's your pick. Dan, what do you think?
I don't think they're getting enough credit for what they put together this year because how pathetic they were last year. But at the same time, I don't think they're anything
But
special.
they put together like Kike and Hunter Renfroe. Like, who's pitching?
Don't come on. Don't Kike and Hunter Renfroe. Those are good, solid players. Don't come on.
I think the rotation is in the same boat as the Phillies bullpen last year. It's like, it can't be that bad again. And this might just because it's the same organization, but they're definitely not going this far.
It's
the
Chris
2013 Red Sox, when they were like, they just added a few scrap guys. What is that going to do for this last place team? And that was a World Series team. They were a last place team the next 2 or 3 years.
I was going to say, I think a lot of things happened that
Yeah.
wouldn't normally happen.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They could be talented. They are talented. They could be better than as. I don't think they're in the running, but at the same time, I don't think they're just like a laughing stock.
Are you taking the under at 79.5?
Yes.
All right.
But I think they can like cut that close.
You take the under, Frank?
I'll take the under. I do like their lineup though. Like I really do think that they're solid, just like all over the lineup. Like they 1 through 8, like 1 through 9 DH solid. really solid. Hopefully JD can bounce back too, because that's a guy I really like.
That's true.
All
They
right.
can hit.
We'll go to Baltimore now. They're really bad, but I actually do like the direction they're going. I feel like they have a plan in place. I see it. I see what they're doing. I enjoy it. I think it's good. Their win total right now is at 63.5. I think it's a good number. I'd probably take the over ever so slightly.
I agree with you. I'm going to take the over. Also, I've been reading a lot about Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah.
People are apparently very, very high on him. So I'm going to be interested to see what he does this season. Again, these bad teams, you look at the younger players. We talked about Brian Hayes for Pittsburgh. Ryan Mountcastle is a guy to look out for in Baltimore. Could be fun if, he starts playing really well.
You beat me to it. That was going to be my first point. Rookie of the year spoiler. I also like Ryan Mountcastle.
Oof.
But when it comes to the team as a whole, Matt Harvey is the 2 starter. I don't think 2021 is anything to look forward to.
But like even them, or like the Red Sox have the awful staff, so do they. Like they can win some games with Mancini, Santander, and Mountcastle in the middle, just hitting home runs. Like it's just going to happen. Like I don't like them, but I think like they have a plan. That's what I admire about them.
I think Boston is a much better offense.
Okay, yeah.
I agree with that. I think Boston has
they're the same kind of team build, but Boston is a much better version of it.
Okay.
Oh, and you mentioned Trey Mancini. Great to have Trey Mancini back.
Yep.
It's always good to see.
We're going to AL Central now. AL Central has been historically awful for the last, decade or so. It's been really, really bad. The winner usually comes out with like 88 wins or something. Start off with the White Sox. They are the favorite. Obviously, Frank said to me in the show, we lost Eloy for the season. That's huge. But the win total is at 90.5. I do see them winning like 92, 93 games. I think that's still reasonable, even losing Eloy. But I do think it makes the division much more open. What do you think about the White Sox?
I would have had them as a shoo-in to win the division with Eloy. Now I think it's kind of up in the air with them in Minnesota, and I'm kind of leaning towards Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
But I still think the White Sox, they're good. I like Moncada a lot. I like what they've done with that rotation. Lance Lynn, I think, is going to be a sneaky good ad. I feel like he's a guy that no one really talks about, cares about, because what has he been up to the last couple of years?
Not
He's
a sexy pick, but he's a very quality.
Exactly. He's going to eat innings, and he's going to be good. He might not be like a Cy Young good, but at the same time, like he's going to go out there, he's going to throw his 200 innings, and he's going to hold it down.
Yeah, I think the White Sox are a really good team, but I think that they're relying on some kids to play some really, really big roles, like the Blue Jays. Obviously, they have a lot of more veterans around these kids, but Luis Roberts has to come out and play really well. Yoan Moncada has to come out and take another step. He's been really solid these last few years in his growth. He's got to continue to grow. So, I mean, yes, I do think that the White Sox win this division. I think, what was the number?
90.5.
I think I'll take the over. Literally 91 wins sounds perfect for them. But they need to do it. Like they need to come out and prove that they can do it.
Blue Jays were a good comp, but I do like that they have the veterans around them that with Jose Abreu,
Yes.
Manny Grandal. They have the guys that what they're going to do. Tim Anderson, to this degree, I feel like we know he's a really good player at this point. He's done it for so many times.
Very solid three.
We got pretty far without mentioning the reigning AL MVP. It's probably bad on us.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot of stuff to talk about. And
those MVPs don't count. We didn't even mention Freddie Freeman as the reigning NL MVP when we talked about. They don't count.
But with us, we've known what Freddie Freeman has been, being Mets fans. We've known what he's been for like a decade, so that came as no surprise to us.
We'll go to the Twins. We'll go to the Twins now. They're at 89.5. They have them at literally one less than the White Sox. I'm sure that number did change after Eloy got hurt. I'm sure.
You don't like the Twins, right?
Me?
Yeah, you don't, not like as you don't like their players, like you don't like them to like win games.
I think the White Sox are better for sure. I think they're definitely good. I do see the path. I don't know if I would. They're similar too, where like they have players that play well, but I don't enjoy watching play. So that's kind of like tough for me. Like Miguel Sano, I know he's going to hit 50 home runs or 40 home runs if he ever plays a full year, but like I don't want to watch Miguel Sano strike out every other at bat. It's just not fun. Like Byron Bucks is exciting, but he's very hit or miss as well in terms of it's a strikeout or a home run. They have a lot of those guys where it's just like it's not really thrilling. Max Kepler, like it's just.
I don't like their lineup at all. Like I don't like their lineup at all.
I feel like that's the only thing they have going for them.
Well, I mean, like just like Mark said, it's just so hit or miss.
It
like,
is hit.
down the line.
Okay, I'll say this. I think they're going to be a very good regular season team that doesn't stand a chance in the playoffs.
They're literally the opposite of the Yankees with their rotation, and like they're going to cruise through the season, and they get to the playoffs, and like these guys aren't going to hit cold. These guys aren't going to hit.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're like a bad version of the Yankees. Like the Yankees, they're a loaded offense that what they've been doing lately. They've been struggling in the playoffs. They're not like incapable, but you see their weaknesses show up when they face the elite pitching. The Twins, I think, are an even worse case of that.
Yeah. Kenta's really good. I think Barrios is a quality too. They lost Trevor May from the bullpen, who was one of their better arms. They added Colin May. I don't really know if that's like a wash or how you view it, but
it's close.
I don't know. 89 wins. I think it's a good number. I'm probably going to take the under slightly. I think like 88 is more reasonable.
I am going to take the over just because of the division. I think they'll end up beating up the teams in that division.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under. I actually like some of the bottom teams in this division. Like, I think that some of the, not Detroit. I'm not talking about Detroit. I just want to make that very clear that I'm not talking about Detroit. But the other two teams that we're going to talk about, I actually think they're kind of solid. We'll get to it. But I'm going to take the under again, ever so slightly, 86 to 88 games. That's my range for them. So I'll just take the under. But yeah, no, I mean, they're going to be right there. They, like you said, like they're going to hit a ton of home runs. They're going to strike out more than any other team in the league. Yeah, they're like the budget Yankees, not price wise, but like as in like performance wise, and it's not going to bode well if they
and
do
price wise
and price wise. But like it's not going to bode well for them in the postseason, whether that's one game or they manage to make it into a 3-game series. Like it's just not going to 5-game series. Excuse me. It's just not going to bode well.
I do think of these two teams, one of them comes out with a wild card spot.
Okay, that's fair.
Where if that's the White Sox, I think they have a better chance.
So you like the Blue Jays and we'll just say the Twins because you like those two for the wild card.
They'd probably be my favorite. Right? I do think the Rays are definitely in it just because of what they do. Like I don't care who's on the Rays roster. I think they have a chance at a wild card because that's just what they do over there.
You don't like anybody in the West though.
I do. This is hard. I don't know if I like them more, but there's teams I like in the race.
We'll go to third place team, the AL Central. I actually think the Indians are being slept on. Their win total right now is sitting at 81.5. Obviously, they're not doing well public relations wise with the media, like getting rid of Lindor and doing these things that you look at them, it's like I just don't want to root for them. But obviously, Brian Jimenez, we've seen Jimenez. He looks great. Ahmed Rosario could be good. We've seen what Ahmed Rosario could be when he is on. Eddie Rosario is really good. They got Eddie Rosario for nothing, like off the scrap heap. I just think like they still have the pitching in place. They still have Bieber. They still have Savali, Plesac. Like they have guys where
Jose Ramirez, baby, one of the best players in the league.
Jose Ramirez, I didn't even feel the need to say him. And Fran Mill, like they have these players that just it's 81.5. I think it's like well over for me. Like 87 wins. They
could be better than the Twins this season. I'm not even kidding. Like if things break right for the Indians, they could be better than the Twins this season. Like eight games between the two of them. I agree with you, Mark. I'm taking the over. Like I really like Jimenez. I loved Jimenez. Like you can't get sad that the Mets traded Jimenez for Francisco Lindor. But that being said, the Indians got what looked like could be a really good player. Again, 60-game season. He kind of fell off a little bit towards the end, but all around game defensively, contact hitting. I mean, he's looked like he's going to be a good player. And then we don't really know what a meta is still 4 years later.
Right. I feel like they're a team, like I said a minute ago, the Blue Jays and the Twins or White Sox, whoever loses the division, those would be, if I had to pick, those are my favorites for the wild card. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Cleveland in it. Yeah. The thing that holds me back is, I know you see teams move a guy like Lindor and you think like, oh, they're still good enough. And I feel like that affects morale. Losing a guy like that, and it's like, okay, well, now we have Andres Jimenez, who's sure he's going to be good, but I don't know about you guys. I liked him a lot last year, and I liked what I saw in defense. I liked what he did with the bat. Then looking at the numbers at the end of the year, it's like, oh, I thought he did a lot better than this.
Yeah. I think he impacted the game more for us watching than he did like in the box score.
Right, that's a fact. I do like Eddie Rosario a lot too. I do think they had a good off season. I wouldn't pick them. But at the same time,
quality guy. We saw Cesar Hernandez annoy us like crazy with the Phillies all those years. Yeah. He's a good player.
Fran Mill's gonna hit a bunch of home runs for them. Like Jose Ramirez is gonna do his thing. They have some dogs still. Like it's not a barren wasteland
I actually like the odds here the most out of anything at plus 750 win the division. I don't think they're going to win the division, but like I think that's good odds to put money on plus
I
7.
don't think things have to break like too right for them. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Kenta goes down, and like the White Sox already lost Eloy. Like it's not
There's a
that
path.
far out of the
There's
question.
a path.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what their pitching does in an going back to a full year where they don't only face the Central.
Yeah.
Like we know these guys are talented, but like look what Bauer and Bieber did last year. Like
They're
they're
like
good,
the
but
best
that's
third team of all of this. Like best chance to win the division by far. Like if you like we've been looking at the three, like the third team, like we've been saying, like it's either going to be close competitive to the first two. They're definitely the best three of all of the teams. Maybe not the best talent wise, but definitely the best
Right.
odds to win.
I agree.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the division. Like I'm definitely heavily leaning towards the first two.
Yeah.
But if Cleveland did, I'd be like, oh, look at that. You can see that happening.
Are we all taking the over 81.5?
Yeah, I'll take the over.
I'll take the over.
Okay. Go over to the Royals now. Royals are much improved. I still don't think they're there. I feel like they're still not like a team that you look at like, oh, they could compete. But 74.5 is their total. Obviously, brought in some guys, Benintendi, Carlos Santana, Michael Taylor from the Nationals. How are we feeling about the Royals?
I love the Royals. I love the Royals to be over 74.5, especially. I just think like again, this is a team. You look at the lineup up and down. It's just a solid player everywhere. Like they really like they've been bad for a while. They've started to fill in that roster with players that can hit. I've seen a lot of people say that Mondesi is going to have a breakout season. I'm hoping for it. I don't know if it's coming. I'm really hoping for it. They have upside now for the first time. The rotation scares me. They have a brutal rotation, and if they don't win 75 games, you will be able to look at that rotation and say that's the reason why.
I was going to ask you the question I ask often. Like I throw the wet blanket over something. I'm like, well, who's pitching for them? Like who's going to be throwing the games? You know.
I mean, like I could tell you who's pitching for them,
but you don't feel good about it.
But Glenn Sparkman just does not get it done for me. Jake Junis. There are others. There are Brad Keller. I'm pretty sure.
I'm never mad at the team for going for it and trying to be competitive. Which for me, this kind of felt like a situation where like you probably should have traded Witt. You probably should have looked into some rebuilding options instead of like bringing in Santana and bringing in these guys. Where like
they could have traded Witt and Salvi for sure. Like
and even Salvador Perez has a lot of value too. It's just like what are we going for here?
He's probably not going to have his value that high again in his career.
Yeah.
Like, what did he hit? Like 320?
He had a monster year in the 60 game. He had like 15 home runs, like 330 average. But like, it's just like,
and like obviously losing Witt and Perez would like set them back, but like it would actually bring them forward because they
have kids.
Speaking of Witt, they have Bobby Witt,
Brady Singer. They have kids
like,
down there.
And again, Adalberto's still young. So like they have like something to build towards. So yeah, that is a question mark. Like I definitely would have traded Salvi. I probably would have tried to trade Witt too.
But I get it also, and they're building the culture, and like I'm never gonna get mad at a team for trying. It's just like when your ceiling's like 80 wins, it's like tough. I'm gonna take the over at 74.5. I think they're like a 76, 77 win team.
I'll take the over.
I'm taking the under strictly because of the pitching. I agree. I don't know what they're going for. Because they have kids. I feel like this is the best time to focus on those kids. I don't think Benintendi is a bad get because he's still fairly young. Like that could be a reclamation project.
Yeah.
Where he's young enough to make it work. But I don't know who's pitching.
They have a prospect that they're high on, right? They do have what's his name? The pitcher.
They have a Lynch.
Brady Singer?
Brady Singer, yes. That they're very high on there.
They have guys coming for sure. And like they're another team that's been bad for a handful of years now, probably like 5-6 years, where like they built up prospects, which is good. It's just I don't know.
I think what's best for them would have been going all in on like let's get the next group going rather than keeping Salvi and trying to make something work here.
They could kind of find themselves in a situation like the San Francisco Giants where they couldn't really get rid of this core. Obviously, like Hosmer and Locane and them have moved on, but like Sal Perez and the Whit Merrifield is part of like the old regime. Like you probably got to move them before they're not worth anything. Like Sal will always be worth something because he's a catcher, but like at some point, Whit's going to regress. And
I mean, we already saw it last year. He stopped stealing bases. And
running a little less.
Second half of 19 too. I love Witt. He's like one of my favorite players in the league. But I mean, it's true. Like a guy like that, he'll always hit. He'll always hit really well. But the other things that he does are gonna start falling off soon.
Right.
So
The value drops off quickly when you're that kind of player.
Yeah.
Is Carlos Santana a 1-year deal?
He was 2.
See, I don't get that.
I mean, I guess like he is tradable if he plays well.
they
Like,
could. There's a scenario where they could be really bad and trade all 3 of them, and like still probably get like a decent. Like if Salvi comes out and has like a good season, like what Santana is, what Witt is. Like there's a scenario where they could still do this season.
Yeah, it's just a strange gamble. Like Santana, if they're on contract years, you flip Santana at the deadline, then yeah, I think that's a solid signing. There's no risk to it because it's a 1-year deal.
Yep.
But you have that second year attached. Now you don't know. Salvador Perez, I'm not going to pretend I watched a lot of the Royals this year. I remember him being a very good defender. I don't know if he still is, but that's my knowledge of Salvador Perez.
He'll always have value being a catcher.
Yeah. But on top of that, I think the way he hit last year, they'll never be able to match the value. And if they get what could you expect from Salvador Perez this year? And would it put you over the top?
No. All right. So I said over with the Royals, so did Frank. Dan said under. I think it's a good number, 74.5. I feel like a few things break either direction. That's very obtainable. The Tigers are next. Tigers are really bad, 67.5. I don't have a lot to say about them. I really don't. I'm taking the under. I think they have all the young kids in the rotation. Maybe some of them pan out. I'm sure that's what they're hoping for with Casey Mize, Tariq Skubal, Matt Manning. Like I'm sure they're just hoping like some of these guys like become established pitchers.
I like Casey Mize a lot, and I am going to heavily take the under.
I like Tariq Skubal a lot, and I'm also going to heavily take the under.
I don't know who's in their lineup that I'm even slightly afraid of or impressed by.
95-year-old Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. I mean, if Salvador Perez can turn it back, maybe it's like a Venezuelan thing. Once you get old, you just start hitting again.
Could this be the year for Candelario? Is that right?
He's probably the best hitter. Like, that doesn't say much. By the year of, do you mean like 270 with 20 home runs? Because
he looks like a Major League Baseball player for the first time in his career.
Maybe they flip Jonathan Scope into something.
Yeah, they sound like Scope and Roddy Grossman. Maybe like
they're.
I don't know.
Yikes.
I hope they're 1-year deals because you heard how I feel about that.
All right, we're going to the AL West now. Much more interesting, much more compelling at least. Astros are projected to come in first place with 87.5 wins. I think that's a great number. I will take the over slightly. I think like 89, maybe 90 wins for the Astros.
I don't like the Astros, and it's got nothing to do with the cheating, but I mean, I obviously don't like them like that either. But they lost George Springer. He was big. If they make it to the postseason, they're going to really feel the loss of George Springer because he was like so good in the postseason. I don't think people realize like how good George Springer was in the postseason. He's not like one of the great players like in the league right now. Like I think he's like a tier below that, but in the postseason, he is the great player. Like he was so good in the postseason for them. I don't know. I just don't like this team. Yordan Alvarez is interesting to me. Is he healthy? Will he stay healthy? If he does, maybe he could like bring in that production because I feel like they haven't gotten a full season of him yet, like a real full season of him yet. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. Rotation's kind of meh. The lineup's kind of meh. I could see this finally being the year that, or actually Oakland won the West last year, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I could see this being an Oakland year again, for sure. I don't love them. What's the number?
I do have the over. 87.
87, you're right.
87 and a half? Okay.
I'll take the under.
I'm taking the over. I think they win the division. I think part of what went wrong last year in the beginning, besides Springer, who, going back to the Blue Jays a little bit, I think he's incredible. That's part of why I think so highly of the Blue Jays. But going back to the Astros, I think in the beginning, they all looked like they were terrified. Everyone was sitting there expecting to get a ball to the dome. And then towards the end of they got in the playoffs at 29 and 31, and a lot of people weren't happy about that. But you saw they got their swagger back, and they were just hitting everybody. Yeah. I think Correa hasn't put it together for a full season, but I think highly of Correa. I think very highly of Bregman. I mean, Altuve had 2 batting titles before the cheating scandal even came out. I don't think he's like a product of that. I think he's always been a good, talented hitter. And Michael Brantley is getting him back was huge after that 30 seconds where he signed with the Blue Jays.
Re-signing Brantley is very important for them.
And their pitching, I'll be honest, I'm not up to date with what's going on with Verlander. I don't know what the deal is
He's
with
out for
him.
the year, but they got
Yeah, okay.
McCullers.
Yeah,
Urquidy,
that's what I'm alluding to. I like Greinke. I like McCullers
You're Quiddy, right? Is that
yeah.
or
your
Keedy.
key?
I think they're gonna win, but more just so I don't see any of the other 4 teams winning type of thing. Like I think it's by default type of thing. Like they have good players. I don't see Oakland as Oakland and the Angels are the threats, obviously, but I don't see them either of them like being better than the Astros.
I agree. That's how I feel. I don't think the Astros are a powerhouse anymore, but I think they're still the best team in that division.
You take the over, Frank? We all taking the over?
No, I'm taking the under.
Taking the under. Okay. We go to Oakland now. Oakland's 86.5. That does feel low a little bit for Oakland, but Oakland's weird, right? They're kind of just always a weird team. Obviously, already some chatter about like Matt Chapman getting traded even before the season started. I think that doesn't really bode great for their team. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. We just don't know when.
Right.
86.5. I might take the under. I think it's like an 85, 84 win team.
I agree with you. I'm going to slightly take the under too. I think Hendricks, is a big loss for them.
Oh, yeah.
The way they play, they're always in games tight. But what I do think they have going for them, Olsen, Laureano, Chapman, they're so good defensively. And I think that helps. Being Mets fans, I can see Jed Lowry having a really good bounce back year. Just because, why not?
I don't see it, but it's possible.
I shouldn't see it, but it's just the nature of being a Mets fan, you know?
Okay.
Like, I could easily see him going back to his 70 extra base hits, hitting 270. I agree with you on the front of Matt Chapman. It just feels like it's a ticking time bomb whenever a good player is there that he's just going to find a new home.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah. Although I do think Olsen, I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's one of those guys that last year with the strange season, the way it started up. I think he's one of those guys that just never got a groove going.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm still taking the under.
I'll take the under on this one too, but I really like the number. I don't know. They're kind of just whatever. Chapman and Olsen are cool. It's just like Jesus Luzardo could be something for them. So
That's very good.
That could be really cool. Maybe he could put them over. Like he could be the factor. Like he come up and immediately be amazing, and it could be the factor. They don't really have a true ace, so they could really use him. If he's good, that could really actually improve that rotation. Obviously, but you know, giving them a true number one, the guys behind them then wouldn't look so bad because they kind of have some solid guys there. I'll take the under. I don't love them. It's just lackluster.
It's well said. I like them. I don't love them.
Yeah.
They did also add Trevor Rosenthal to replace Liam Hendricks. We don't really know what Trevor Rosenthal is, but he could.
Oh, that's true. They lost Liam Hendricks too. That's a huge loss.
Yeah, Dan was saying that he could be great, but it's just I don't know. I'm gonna take the under slightly. We all take the under on this one.
Yes, I think if you're gonna lose a big name, closer is probably the best spot for it to be.
Probably.
But at the same time, he was good.
2-year run of being the best reliever in baseball for sure.
I want to talk about the Angels.
There it is, the Angels. I'll start off with the Angels. I think they're right there with Cleveland in terms of third place teams that have a shot to win the division. I'm not going to pick them over the two in front of them, but I think they have a reasonable chance if there's so many things. If Ohtani breaks red, if everyone stays on the field healthy, Trout stays on the field, Dylan Bundy does what he did last year. There's a lot of things that need to go right, but I do like this Angels team quite a bit.
This is the year. This is the year for the Angels. I think they're winning this division. I don't know why. I feel good about it.
83.5. I'm definitely taking the over. I don't think they're going to win the division.
What's the number? I'm sorry.
83.5.
I'm taking the over. I think they win the division. I really do. I really think that they've made improvements steadily and surely. I don't know about the pitching. You need Ohtani to be really good. If Ohtani's really good at pitching, then their rotation is not honestly that bad. They have a lot of solid guys that are going to pitch to a 3.5 to a 4.5 depending on the year. I like the Angels a lot. Mike Trout's the best player in the world still. There's a lot of talk about it, but it's not really up for debate right now. Someone's going to have to actually take that mantle away from him. Yeah. Mike Trout's the best player in baseball. He's going to steal bases again this season. I believe it. Anthony Rendon, hopefully full season healthy. It's always been one of his problems, but if he could stay healthy, again, Mark said a lot of question marks, but I think they can put it together. I really think that they can win this division.
83.5.
3.5.
Take the under, Dan. I dare you.
I think I'm gonna do it. There's
You don't believe in Trouty?
Listen, I think it's all
Trouty is not the issue. It is not Trout.
100% on Ohtani, whether they're amazing or awful. It's all on Ohtani.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see Ohtani being really good.
Games?
I think if Ohtani gets hurt in April, they're going to be terrible.
That's fair. I think I can see him being good too, but I mean, if he's a middle of the order bat and like a middle of the rotation guy, there's not a lot of pitching depth.
He's their ace and 2-hitter. Like it's like a
it's tough, and he's probably their best stolen base. There, not that that's like the biggest part of the game anymore, but
like 30.
You know what would be wildly fun?
He has the role of like 4 guys.
If the Angels are like in it with those other 2 teams, maybe like a game and a half behind or something at the deadline, and they just get like a sick pitcher. I don't know who that pitcher would be. Don't ask me. I don't want to tell you because I don't know.
I mean, Max Scherzer could be available if the Nationals are bad.
That would be weird.
But I think that would be so cool if they just got like a pitcher and like they had Ohtani pitching game 1 and that pitcher pitching game 2 and like they could like be in a playoff series. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah, and I think Bundy and Andrew Heaney are quality enough to keep them in games. Quintana's pitched well this spring. I'm not really high on Jose Quintana at this point.
If that's your 3-4-5, you're not mad at that. That's a good 3-4-5.
It's all right.
I need one more.
What do they have going for them in the bullpen? Because
they got Raisel Iglesias from the Reds.
They did get Raisel. I did forget about that until I said that out loud.
I feel like they have like some other throwers like Ty Buttrey and a few other guys just like throw hard.
Do they still have Hansel Robles just pointing to the sky as balls go 400
feet? Seattle now, right?
He's a twin.
Hansel? Oh, who knew?
He's not there anymore, but he was bad.
No, Raffy's in Seattle.
Raffy is in Seattle, yes.
All right, so me and Frank take the over.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. This is another team I can easily see them going both ways because I feel like lately it's been getting more. I think Anthony Rendon is one of the best players in baseball.
Oh, he's amazing. Another guy that we saw ad nauseum in the NL East. We know how good he is.
Yeah, he's a monster.
We'll go to the Mariners now. This is another team where it's like I see the path, I see the direction. Like they're going to be really, really good, really, really soon. Obviously, they're not there yet.
Shout out to Brody Van Wagenen.
73 is their win total. I'm going to take the under. I don't think they're anywhere near competitive this year, but like you say, you see the pieces. We know Kelenic. We know who's the other outfielder. I can't think of his name.
Julio Rodriguez.
Thank you. We know like some of the guys that have in place now. Evan White at first. They have Taylor Trammell just made the team. They have J.P. Crawford. They have all these young guys, and I think they're coming too. I
like Justin Dunn.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I think there's just too many players at the top jockeying for position. There's too many teams at the top jockeying for position. I think that they're going to unfortunately be one of those teams that get beat up on. But you're right, Seattle 5 years from now going to be really, really good. So good for them. They did it right.
I'm taking the under too. This is a team that they're going the right direction, but the path they're on, 2021 is not.
It's not there.
Nothing to look forward to.
All right, last team we have to do is the Texas Rangers. I'm actually extremely down on this team. I think they are awful. I don't see really any big prospects coming up to help. I think they've had Rene Odor there forever. He's really bad. Joey Gallo is fine for what he is, but like you're not building your team around Joey Gallo. He's just like
actually
I don't see any really good players on this team. Like truthfully, like I don't know if that's mean or harsh. They traded Lance Lynn. I don't see anyone in the rotation. I don't see anyone in the bullpen. They're really bad.
I would like to see Joey Gallo in Coors Field. That's the only thing I have. And I want him to.
You think they would pay Joey Gallo?
No, I just want him as a Rocket. I just want to see.
The thing with Joey Gallo is I remember last year, Joey Gallo was like a not a hot commodity, but his name was being talked about the trade deadline. I'm thinking to myself, like, who's better with Joey Gallo in terms of like he's a player. I don't know if he's a good player. Like he's gonna hit home runs. He's actually a really good defender, which is
a great defender. Yeah,
he's a really good defender.
Value, but just like I wouldn't be pumped if the Mets got Joey Gallo.
He can help a team. There's no question he can help a team. I don't know what team, but he could definitely like if Cincinnati's competing at the end of the season, like he could definitely go to Cincinnati and like make a big splash over there with like the home runs that he hits, like put him next to Castillo, Eugenio, like they just be hitting bombs. I could definitely see him helping a team. It's not one of the top teams though. Like he's not going to go to Atlanta and help them. Actually, I could see him in Atlanta too. Okay, he can go to Atlanta and help them, but he's not going to go to LA or like San Diego or
Why
the
not?
Yankees.
Why can't he help them then?
He can't help Los Angeles.
You see Gallo playing short in
They have
Cincinnati.
too much like good players for
They're
like,
helpless. Joey Gallo can't help.
They don't need help. Like he doesn't improve them. But like I feel like if he goes to Atlanta and he can hit bombs and be like a guy that just bats like 5 or 6 for them and just like hits home runs, like yeah, like he should be traded at the deadline because they don't have anything. And like I honestly think that he can help a team.
Like I'm mad if the Mets give up like a notable prospect for Joey Gallo. I'm like, why did we do that type of thing? Like there are guys that I'm like, oh, that's fun, but like putting on a guy who's hit 220 is just like
the Mets don't really have a spot for him though.
No.
No,
Frank, if he goes to Cincinnati,
I'm thinking from like a team perspective. Like if I'm a Reds fan, I'm mad if we give up like one of our like big prospects for Joey Gallo.
But like, what if you're a Reds fan and you're competing, and like he replaces Jesse Winker?
Not the guy to put us over the top.
You know, like who cares?
I
we're
wouldn't
Mets
trust
fans.
him
Like if he
that.
replaces Michael Conforto or Dom Smith, we're gonna be like, no, that's not okay. But if he replaces Jesse Winker, like you're like, okay, like that's an improvement. You know what I mean? And like if Jesse Winker like goes over Texas, you're like,
Winker's underrated in my opinion. I kind of like Jesse Winker.
Can I trade
he's
him?
on my
The
fantasy
person
team.
I don't like because of the Mets issue, but like he's a
like-
decent little hitter.
He's
He
a
puts
nice
the ball in play. I think Joey Gallo, when it especially, I wouldn't want him because in the playoffs, when you're facing those top arms, I think he goes like 0 for 9 with 8 strikeouts.
Okay,
against those
that
guys,
now that's
and
a
maybe
fair
hits a
point.
double.
That's a fair point.
I love his glove, but I wouldn't give up anything for Joey Gallo.
We spent too much time talking about the Rangers. Let's be honest.
67.5. I'm hammering the under. I think this team is awful from top
Taking
5.
the under.
I'm taking the under. Just
I think that's
because
just the harshest I've been with a team because there are teams here that I look at and I'm like, they could be okay, but like this team is just awful.
Most teams like have a direction or a prospect like coming up, but like Colorado and Texas are barren wastelands of like nothingness.
can someone
no
explain
one
that Chris
there that
Davis
you-
trade?
There's no one there that you're like
Mhm.
looking at, like with Trevor Story, like most likely going to be gone. There's no one there that you're looking at where like he could be the future. There's no one coming up that you're looking at where like he could be the future. Like those two teams, those two fan bases, I'm sorry, you guys are in for a long one.
All right, someone explain Chris Davis for Elvis Andrus for me. How does that help the Texas Rangers right now?
I think it was, it was like a money / change of scenery type of deal. They wanted to play Connor Falefa at short and like Elvis.
Okay.
I remember seeing like they wanted Elvis to play like some second, some third when he was still with Texas.
Right.
Maybe he said like, I don't want to move off short. You don't know what happens like inside the clubhouse, but it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like at that point, like what's the point of it? That's literally like that's their guy.
Chris
Elvis
Davis,
is there for the 2 World
Joey
Series
Gallo,
runs.
3 and 4.
That sounds like a lot of offers and a lot of
And they
strikeouts.
got
And
Nate
some
Lau.
homers.
They got Nate Lau from the Rays who always strikes out too. It's messy over there.
I'm gonna say they get no hit this year. I don't know who does it, but somebody's gonna no hit them.
You should bet that. There's probably some odds there. Just like a futures, like Texas gets no hit this season. Like it's probably an okay payout. All right, we're gonna end the show now with our award predictions. We'll look at the betting odds. We'll get some things we like for the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young, and the MVP. We'll start with Rookie of the Year. We want to let the kids play per Frank. So we'll start with the National League. There's the 5 favorites are Brian Hayes, Sixto Sanchez, Ian Anderson, Dylan Carlson, and Mackenzie Gore. How do we feel about the NL Rookie of the Year picture?
I think any one of those guys can win it, really. I'm not as high on Mackenzie Gore, but the other 4, I mean, Dylan Carlson's been highly touted. And the thing with Dylan Carlson that's like super impressive, everyone talks about his bat, and I feel like bats win Rookie of the Years for position players. Like defense doesn't win Rookie of the Year for position player. Bats win Rookie of the Year for position players. He has the benefit of being on a team that with like a lot of players too. Like he could be in a position to knock in RBIs. Where Brian Hayes, he's going to be good. There's no question about it. He might actually be the better player, but his numbers just might not show it at the end. Where Dylan Carlson, like he's going to have the protection in the lineup. Like if he's really good, like you're going to have to worry about Nolan's 240. You're going to have to worry about,
No, it's a good point. The counting stats are going to be higher for Carlson with the RBIs and probably the runs. Yeah.
And then Sixto, I mean, the sky's the limit with that kid. He's got some amazing stuff. So this is a tough one. This is a tough one.
Dan.
Go ahead, Dan. You pick. I'm gonna think about
All
it.
right. I might have an NL East bias. I'm gonna lean towards Sixto. I liked what I saw from him a lot last year. I think his stuff is good. I think he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt being in such an offense-loaded division. There's so many good teams. If he's a solid pitcher, I think he's gonna get some credit for that.
Now, Ian Anderson's also a top prospect. He actually pitched better than Sixto. Why does he not get love?
I feel like that's just kind of what the Braves do. They just pump kids out there and it just works. Sixto is kind of like, oh, here's the guy in Miami, where Ian Anderson's just another piece of the puzzle. Which, albeit, if his numbers were better, I don't have their numbers side by side, but it just feels like that's what the Braves do. They just kind of, they'll plug a guy in, he'll figure it out. That's that whole rotation, it feels like. But Sixto is kind of like, he is the guy now.
Yeah, he was the big piece traded for Real Muto, so
Exactly.
the guy they're building around. That's fair. Frank, who wins the National League Rookie of the Year?
I feel like you're gonna say Brian Hayes, and Dan said Sixto. So just to be different, I'll go with Dylan Carlson. Like I said, I like the lineup that he's in. I think it's good for him. If the Cardinals are competitive, that's gonna help him. He's gonna have the chance to knock in some runs. I'll go with Dylan Carlson, but I also really like Sixto, and I also really like Brian Hayes. So like, if any of them win, I won't be surprised.
Dan, who's your NL Rookie of the Year winner?
NL Sixto.
Okay. I think Brian is the favorite. I feel good about it. I think Ian Anderson being on the Braves is going to win a lot of games. I don't know if his ERA is going to be where it needs to be, but I'll take Ian Anderson right now just to not pick the favorite.
You think there's a chance that Gavin Lux finally breaks through and does it?
He's not rookie eligible. He's not on the list.
Are you sure?
Good job checking on that.
He's been rookie eligible every year for the past 5 years, so I just don't know if that's accurate. So.
A couple of dark horses I wrote down were Jazz Chisholm, who won the second base job in Miami. I think he has a shot. Obviously, they trade Zach Gallen for him. They believe in him. And Spencer Howard, we kind of talked some smack about him earlier, but he's supposed to be good at plus 1,200. He probably has a rotation spot, I'd expect. So maybe he puts it together. Go to the American League now. American League, I think, is very, very interesting. Randy Rosarena, number 1. Jared Kelly, number 2. Andrew Vaughn, number 3. Ryan Mountcastle, number 4. And Nate Pearson, number 5. What's the feel right now, Dan, with the American League Rookie of the Year picture?
I alluded to this earlier. I am leaning towards Mountcastle. I feel like he has the power to play in the big leagues. He's in a division where, he's everywhere as a bandbox, it feels like, in the AL East. Didn't he hit like 370 when he came up last?
He looked really, really good.
He's not like an all or nothing kind of guy. Like, I feel like there's like solid bat to ball skills for a guy with that much power.
I think he's projected like a 285-ish average from guys, which is really good.
Yeah, I think he's in a really good position.
The names?
Yeah, one more time. Can you repeat that?
Rosarena, Kellenic, Vaughn, Mountcastle, and Nate Pearson.
That's tough.
It's really tough.
I'm gonna go with Kellenic because it has to be, right? He has to be the greatest player of all time.
It doesn't have to be.
Brody's one last gift to the New York Mets has to be us watching, or I'm sorry, the Wilpons' one last gift to the New York Mets has to be us watching Jared Kelenic be the best baseball player in the world. It has to be, right? It had to be one last gift. I'll take Jared Kelenic for no baseball reason whatsoever because he was in the Mets prospect system, and now he's not in the Mets prospect system. That's why I'm taking Jared Kelenic. Dumb reason? Maybe. You guys like
I can't knock it. This is why I said Jed Lowry would have a good bounce back year. He's going to come back player of the year.
Kelenic, in my opinion, is very behind the 8 ball because Rosarena, Vaughn, and Mountcastle are going to be starting off in prominent positions for their team. Yes. I like Andrew Vaughn a lot because they lost Eloy. They need a big bat like that. So his playing time is not in question. They're going to play him every day. He looks really good in spring. He doesn't look overmatched at all. I think he has one more strikeout than walk. It was like 8 strikeouts to 7 walks. Obviously, what you love to see from a young player who already has a good knowledge of the strike zone. I think Rosarena is the fun, trendy pick because of the great postseason, but we have no idea what he actually is over the course of a real season. So I'm going to take Andrew Vaughn. So we have Andrew Vaughn, Jared Kelenic, and Ryan Mountcastle. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
One thing. I'm sorry. One thing I want to say before we start. The media likes to pick a person to like there's like guys that like they like to give awards to, right? Or like you can get the sense that there's a guy that they want to give an award to, right? We'll talk about the NL MVP picture, and I think there's a shortstop that they would love to give that award to if they had the ability to. We saw it with the Shohei Ohtani Rookie of the Year, where him and was it Andujar or Torres?
Andujar.
They were kind of
they were the three
Andujar-
finalists, but Andujar was the one that gave him a run for his money.
Andujar could have definitely won that Rookie of the Year. There are guys that they want to give this award to. The way that Jared Kelenic has been covered, they are going to want to give it to Jared Kelenic if he plays well. The same thing with the Rosarena. After last postseason, if a Rosarena has like if it's close and like one of those two guys are in the running, I feel like they're going to want to give it to one of those two guys. Just like a little.
Okay. The AL is actually stacked. I wrote down 3 dark horses and Bobby Dahlbeck, Alex Kirilloff, and Michael Kopech all being Rookie of the Year eligible too. So a lot of options in the American League.
Yeah, it's nice to see some talented kids coming up all at once.
Yeah, Bobby Dahlbeck could really do it. Like if he got the power that he's got.
The American League.
Yeah.
We want to do Cy Young next, and we'll do MVP last. Is that good?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll start with the National League Cy Young. I think we all know who we're all picking there. We'll go over the list. It's DeGrom, Bauer, Scherzer, Buehler, Darvish in that order in terms of the betting odds favorite. Not a lot to say there. I'm taking Jake, and I feel good about it.
I agree.
Scherzer seems like a bad bet. Just seems like a bad bet. Like you just don't know if he's going to stay like healthy the whole season. He's older. Like there's just so many questions when it comes to Max Scherzer. I wouldn't bet Bauer either, but the other 3 guys obviously are good.
Scherzer, Buehler, Darvish are all plus 1,000 even odds, and Bauer's a little better at plus 750.
Yeah, how do you not pick DeGrom, seeing what he's done the last 3 years?
Yeah, DeGrom's plus 350, heavy favorite there.
Yeah, I can't argue.
Maybe Kyle Hendricks is a dark horse at plus 5,500. I think that's like a decent throw something on it bet.
What about Aaron Nola? What are Aaron Nola's odds to win?
I didn't write down Aaron Nola to do the top 5. It's probably like 1,200. He's probably right past Darvish and them.
I don't hate it. Like if you're looking for like a dark horse, like if Phillies like again at that season, like I don't hate that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's DeGrom's award to lose, but it's just a name that I was thinking about.
He's plus 1,200. He's number 6 after Darvish.
Okay, so there you go.
Like he was close in 18, but since then he's kind of like dipped a little bit.
Strasburg's another guy too. I'm sorry to cut you off, Dan.
No, you're good. You can keep going. I didn't have much to say on Nola.
Like I don't think he's going to be healthy the whole season, but if he does stay healthy, like he could really
be like a boom for your buck type of investment.
Exactly.
American League, I think he's a little more complex. You got Garrett Cole, you have Shane Bieber, you have Lucas Giolito, Tyler Glasnow, and Hyunjin Ryu as top 5. I don't see anyone besides Cole or Bieber winning this. At least me. I don't see like Giolito or Glasnow or Ryu like as the Cy Young.
Give me Ryu. They're not both going to go by the book, and I feel more confident about Jacob deGrom than I do any of those guys at the top. So, give me Ryu. Toronto has an excellent season. He wins 20 games. He pitches to a 2-3, and they give it to him.
Yeah, I'm going to go very by the book, and I'm going to go with Garrett Cole. There's a level between DeGrom. There's DeGrom, then there's Cole, then I feel like there's the rest of them. Bieber is closer.
I was just saying, I think Bieber's with Cole. I do think he's like in that.
Bieber's only with Cole because of the division that he pitched.
I liked what I saw from him in 2019. Like he was an all-star. He was good. And even the all-star game, he looked pretty untouchable. But I think I'm a little wary of him because last year was just playing the Central and there was no threats.
Yeah, but he had a 3-2 in 19, like you just said. So it's like.
Yeah, but does a 3-2 play with Garrett Cole? Who's going to strike out like 300 guys?
I feel like Garrett
Cole finished with like around a 3 last year,
Garrett
right?
Cole would be like a low 3 guy, I feel like.
I feel like Cole started this shortened season pretty bad and still finished at like a 2.8.
I think they're very similar in terms of ability. I'm going to take Bieber, but I think it's Bieber or Cole. Frank went.
I agree.
Off the bat.
I do think Cole is closer to Bieber than he is to DeGrom. I think they're pretty. I still have Cole as above him.
I wrote down.
Gotta be a little different,
I wrote down Luzardo at plus 3,500. I wrote down Greinke at plus 4,500. I wrote down Ohtani at plus 5,000. That's just maybe shot in the dark horses for the AL. I think the AL's open. Like the AL's National League is DeGrom and everyone else. AL's got some guys that like could potentially step up and perform.
Can Otani win MVP for hitting and Cy Young for pitching? Would they do that?
It would be
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean,
I
we've
mean, like,
seen guys do it. Verlander has an MVP,
in the
and he didn't even hit.
Did he win Cy Young that year? I guess they gave him. Cy
Yeah,
Young.
you can't be the best player and not be the best pitcher,
Well, I
right?
don't know because like okay, so for like the NFL, like sometimes they wouldn't like Aaron Rodgers will win MVP and then uh Derrick Henry will win Offensive Player of the Year. Like they will, but I mean the MVP is obviously better than the Offensive Player of the Year, but they won't do both. Like they won't double to take both awards. So that's why I was asking.
Oh, in that case, football is weird.
That it is a little strange. Like wouldn't Aaron Rodgers also be?
Yeah, if you're the MVP and you only play offense, you got to be the best offensive player, right?
It's a little strange. It's a little strange.
I think Otani needs 25 starts. I think if Otani has 25 starts, he has a shot. At least for the Cy Young, not for the MVP. The MVP needs like 15, 20.
25 starts, 30 home runs, 3 ERA. Does he win MVP?
Yeah, like that.
Repeat the numbers.
25 starts, 30 home runs.
With a 3 ERA.
With a 3 ERA.
Definitely.
Does that get MVP and Cy Young?
Yeah. How do you match being
probably not Cy Young, but definitely MVP.
Okay. Because we were saying like it's going to be around a 3, right? We're expecting like a 2-6 for the guy that wins, right?
Probably like high 2s, low 3s.
7. Yeah.
All right, we can go over the MVP now. We can start in the National League. We have Tatis, Soto, Betts, Acuna, and Bellinger. Frank, what do we think for the NL MVP?
They want to give it to Tatis. Like they're going to want to give it to Tatis. If he's in the race, he's close. Now the question is, will he be in the race? That's the big question. I don't know. I really don't know.
Damn,
I'm gonna go Acuna.
You said Acuna?
I'm gonna go Acuna.
Oh my goodness.
But if Tatis is the finalist at the end, he's winning it. That'll be my one thing. I'm gonna take Acuna. I think he's just the most versatile player on that list, and he's got a little bit more experience than Tatis. I think he's gonna have like his breakout season from like star to superstar. I think I'm gonna go with Acuna.
Okay.
I'm gonna go off the board. I think this guy would have one already if he was on a better team. I'm going Jake. I think DeGrom gets one. I think not that wins holds a lot of weight anymore. He's probably not going to lose many games with the offense that's behind him now if they don't go Mets and just put up goose eggs every time he pitches.
No way.
But you're telling me a guy with like a 2 ERA who has, say his record is like 21-2. He's going to hit a home run at some point. He does it every year. And I feel like if 2018 DeGrom was on a good team, that's MVP. I think he does that again.
So quickly, let me get this straight. You're predicting two players to win both the Cy Young and MVP in Otani and DeGrom.
No.
Quincy didn't predict that.
I'm glad you clarified. Now
I'm just joking around.
Like Garrett Cole.
I took Garrett Cole.
All right.
No, that's really good. I wrote down DeGrom's a dark horse at plus 5,000. Hey, you should throw something on that down. It's not bad odds.
Let's split it.
But I actually took Acuna too. I was thinking about trying to pivot off Acuna because I was like, should I just make a case for Soto or something? But no, I think this is Acuna's year. I think he's amazing. I think he's going to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases. He's the best player or 1B to Freeman on that team. And the Braves are amazing. I think he's their leadoff hitter, and he's just going to be absolutely ridiculous and grab his first MVP award.
If I had to pick a bat, it would be Acuna too.
Not Soto. You're the biggest Soto guy, no?
They're not going to win enough.
I don't think
they're not going to win enough.
I think he's going to be the best hitter, but MVP doesn't come from a 500 team that misses the playoffs. Like you have to be like Bryce, like hitting 330 with 40 bombs, crazy. Which then again, Soto could do. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
he's the best hitter I've ever seen in my life. So not rolling him out.
Yes, yeah. The 3 dark horses I wrote down were DeGrom, like I said, at plus 5,000. Manny Machado, I think, has a really great chance of just having a ridiculous year at plus 2,600. Obviously, he's in the middle of that lineup with in front of Tatis is in front of him, Grisham's in front of him, guys get on base with Hosmer and other guys behind him. And I wrote down Josh Bell at plus 10,000. I think Josh Bell has a shot at plus 10,000. Like that's
gross. Josh Bell had 2 good months.
He's 2 years removed from a 37 home run, 120 RBI, 990 OPS season. 2 years removed from that.
Yeah, and most of that happened in a 2-month span.
Listen, he's a dark horse.
Very dark.
10,000 plus 10,000.
Very much a dark horse.
Yeah, it's not the same level of it, but this definitely screams like that time where we all thought Dominic Brown was going to be good because he had a good couple months. Obviously, he's much better. His ceiling is higher and his floor is higher. But I think it's the same kind of situation there.
I'm just saying
I am not ringing the bell.
we have this path in our head. I mean, I'm not betting on it. It's a dark
No,
horse.
I know.
We have this path in our head of the Nationals having a shot at being good if things break right. He's one of the factors. So if he's batting 4 behind Juan Soto and he hits 40 home runs and drives in Soto 130 times and Trey Turner 100, like it's like I see a path. Is what I'm saying.
You think he's capable of hitting 40 home runs throughout a season?
He did it once, or he was 2 off once.
I think he was overrated then. I think he's overrated now.
He's 27 or 28 years old. He's in his prime. Like I think he's good. I think he's a good player. I think that was a good pickup for them.
I think he's solid, but at the same, I don't think he's matching that year. I think if the Nationals are good, Juan Soto's MVP.
You know who I kind of like on the low? Ozzy Albies too.
For MVP?
Just like he could do it. Like he could have one of those seasons. He does a little bit of everything. He's really good. Little power speed threat.
So like his game, if he hits 285, like his like peaks would be like, I don't know, like 290, like 25 homers and like 20 steals. That's not an MVP.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit. Give him a little bit more. Give him like 330.
We can't do that. We can't just give him a little more.
I'm not
Yeah,
giving
give it to him. I don't know. Maybe
not hitting 30 home runs.
Ozzy Albies.
Since you mentioned narratives before, I can see Lindor getting votes if he has the kind of year he puts up.
No, he's
Gold Glover,
running,
steals, hits for
sure.
average.
I put money on Yelich. I already did it. I don't remember what the. Let me pull it up. He was like plus 1,500 or something. I was like, I like that. I was like, that's a.
Cody's another guy. Could win it.
Cody could definitely win it. I'm afraid of Cody, but like,
No one actually picked Mookie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Mookie.
I thought about Mookie.
Mookie is the better shot there.
A lot of talent in the National League. Like a ton of talent in the National League.
A lot of fun.
It's a better league than the American League right now.
There's no question.
That's not arguable. We'll do the American League MVP and we'll wrap it up with that. It's kind of Mike Trout in the field in terms of the betting odds, but it's Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Alex Bregman, Jose Ramirez, and Anthony Rendon coming in the top 5. Pretty cool. They do have Trout and Rendon in the top 5, 2 Angels, and they're still probably going to come in 3rd place. But Trout's at 220, and then everyone else is 1,200 or more. So Trout's the very big favorite.
Listen, I have the Angels winning that division. And if the Angels are going to win that division, Mike Trout's going to have to be the MVP and then some. So I'm going to go with Mike Trout. However, I do want to point out, again, the media likes to give out these awards. If Aaron Judge plays a full season and is really, really good for the Yankees, they are going to want to give this award to Aaron Judge because there's no guarantee he'll ever play a full season again. All right? So they want to give this award to Aaron Judge. I'm going with Mike Trout. I think he's the best player in baseball. I think he's going to have a really, really good season, but they want to give it to Aaron Judge like they want to give it to Fernando Tatis Jr., like they want to give it to Jared Kelenic.
Team Mike Trout. All right, Quincy, who are you taking?
Mike Trout's the best player in the world, and I want to say Trout, but just for the spirit of giving some variety, I'll say Alex Bregman. Last year he was bad, or not close to what we expected, but in 2019 he was amazing, and he's a fantastic defender at third base. It's not like he's in the corner outfield being a fantastic defender. I just feel like he does so many things well. He's a great eye, hit for average, hit for power. I think if the Astros end up having a year where they win division, win like 90-something games, they win the division, he could definitely be in the running. Yeah,
that's definitely reasonable. He has the 3rd best odds. I'm going to take Ohtani. I'm all in. I see the path. It was really messy for me, and then I think one of our friends explained it to me, and I was like, that is very possible. Like, it's very possible he hits 30 home runs, he steals 20 bases, and he pitches to a 3 ERA across 20 starts. I don't think it's all health. If he can be on the field, I think it's there for him. And I think it's really, really interesting that they have Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani, who are like all 3 top 10 MVP favorites, and they're just not that great of a baseball team. Like they're really good players. They're really that's what I was saying before. Like, at some point in time, this has to come together. If they can get a pitcher at the trade deadline, take them. Take them. The MVP. So, it's not the NBA. Excuse me.
It's not the NBA. You need depth everywhere.
It's true. All right, we'll recap one last time. We'll go over the divisions. I'm just going to ask you guys who you think is going to win, and then we'll call it an episode. NL East, I'm taking the Mets. Frank.
Give me the Mets. I'm taking the Mets.
Dan?
I said the Braves earlier. I can go either way. I just said DeGrom's going to win MVP.
So you're taking the Mets.
I'm gonna stick with the
Take the
Braves.
Braves, you
I
can.
think I can see the Mets being a 100-win wild card, like something crazy like
Oh
that.
no, that would be the worst.
Yeah, right. At least we got Jake.
Yeah. All right. Mets, Braves. NL Central. I'm taking the Brewers.
I agree. I'm taking the Brewers too.
Frank,
Give me the Cubs.
the Cubs.
No, I take that back. Give me the Brewers. I'll take the Brewers.
Oh my gosh, what a cop out. Take the Cubs. NL West. It's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the Dodgers.
My wild card is the Braves and the Padres.
Braves, Padres. Yeah.
I will go Mets, Padres.
Damn. All right, over the American League, it's the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just move on.
American League Central. I'll take the Indians. Let's have some fun.
I'll take the White Sox. I'll go by the book.
I'm gonna go with the Twins. I like that. We got
Wow.
some variety in here.
That's a lot of fun.
3 different one. American League West. I'll take. It's gonna be the Astros, but I'll take the Angels. It's fun.
I said it before, and I'm saying it again. I'm taking the Angels. I'm taking Mike Trout and the Angels.
Let's go.
And I got Bregman winning MVP and the Astros winning the division. So
I think the wild card is a little bit more up in the air. For me, I'll take White Sox Astros wild card game.
I'm
Give me
gonna
Tor-
go.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, I'll go. I said it before. I'm gonna stick with the White Sox and the Jays.
I'm going to take Toronto and Houston.
Okay. Does that mean Frank and I have Minnesota missing the playoffs?
Yes,
Fun.
I do.
Quincy's boys. Quincy's pick. Do we have anything more to say about our MLB preview with the season just 4 days away? Anything
Oh,
more?
we're not gonna do the World Series. I mean, we gotta go all the way here.
I don't like.
Yeah.
To pick the World Series.
Plus, we're all gonna pick the Mets because DeGrom is gonna roll through the playoffs.
I'm gonna
anyway.
pick
I'm not picking the Mets. I'm not picking the Mets to win the World
Then
Series.
what are you
Or
even
at least
doing
like
here, man?
Can we at least get a matchup? You don't have a matchup in mind?
I don't like to do this. I really don't. Like, I don't like to pick.
I'm not holding you to it.
I know, but it's like
No, the
I don't like
playoffs are
ever-
so.
All right, I'll put it out there. I think it's going to be the Yankees and the Padres. Yankees, Padres World Series.
Okay, Dan.
Subway Series.
I was gonna say Subway Series. I was gonna say
Yeah,
Mets,
like-
Yankees.
Wow, Yankees, Mets. That's crazy.
I'm just not gonna. I don't know. I don't like doing that. I don't like saying like the Mets are gonna lose in the playoffs type of scenario.
I mean,
I think
if they
you never
lose,
know.
They're going to lose to the Dodgers or the Padres or the
Yeah.
Braves. Like it's not like it's
I think
not like
there's
they're
just
gonna-
so much. You never know what's gonna happen in the play. Like I'm always a fan of like pitching wins, which the Mets aren't the best rotation start to finish, but like they'll get Carrasco back, Noah back, and no one is gonna match Jacob deGrom.
Listen, if anyone is holding us to a hypothetical a week before a 162 game season, I don't know what to tell you, but I think it's fun. It's a fun guess. It's a fun
Yeah.
Subway Series. That's a lot of fun. That's heart. That I don't know if my heart makes it through a Subway Series. I'm not even kidding. Like
I would
I
have
might
to-
die.
I'd have to get off Twitter for at least a month.
It would.
I'd move to like Ohio.
My funeral would be some point between Game 5 and Game 6, and Mark wouldn't come because he'd have to watch Game 5 and Game 6. It'd be really bad.
Sorry, wouldn't be there.
Go to Cleveland. Doesn't matter what's going on. They'll be talking about the Browns. So like, forget
There you
baseball
go.
ever happened if the Mets lose the Subway Series again.
All right. Well,
Thank
that's
God we
gonna
were
do
only
it for
four.
us. Nice lengthy show, probably around hour 45, maybe 2 hours. We really recapped everything, talked about every team, talked about the odds, what we feel good about, what we don't feel good about.
Every
Sorry,
kid.
Frank. What was
Every
that?
kid coming up. We talked about every single kid. coming up.
Everything. I was gonna
We
say
covered the
sorry.
prospects.
Let us know if we missed a name. Let us know if we missed your favorite prospect.
Sorry, Texas Rangers. You're kind of the only team I couldn't come up with some type of positive spin for. They kind of just don't really have anything going for them. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for watching, and come back for our next episode.